Okay, looks like things are set up. I gotta make sure it's all going to the stream. 1 second. Things have got some ideas for some videos. I got some stuff planned out. I'm looking forward to recording some things over the next day or so. And I think Saturday. I think early Saturday afternoon is my plan for my new stream schedule because I can't do it on Sundays, unless unless they end up shifting the schedule. I heard they might shift the release schedule for Shonen Jump soon. I'm not too sure if that's accurate, but it's possible. I'm sure it might be a typo. I don't know why they would shift the schedule, but as of right now, I heard that they might. Like, I think they said they were going to push it a couple. I don't know if it was a couple hours back or a couple hours forward. I'm not too sure if I want to do all of the recording for Shonen Jump stuff and do the stream like all on the same day for Sunday. So I'm thinking early afternoon Saturday is a pretty good time because I know a lot of people like to go out and do stuff on Saturday. Saturday nights. I don't want to do it too far in, but early afternoon I think might be a solid time. What's up, Jordan Chandler? How's it going? What's up, Smarty? Smarty had a rough time of getting wrecked in some Yu-Gi-Oh a little bit ago, but I'm sure he will recover. How's it going, though, Smartismo? Are you recovering? Are you okay, my guy? Anyway, I'm just posting up the tweets with the link to the stream, posting in some of the discords I go into. And then we can get to things. I was a little bit more prepared today. I was surprised. I actually got like my tweet with all my hashtags all set up for the stream. I'm actually seemingly on the ball. Maybe I should just do that every time and actually have a plan instead of just going in blind a lot of the time. But what's up, King Sinbad, Robin McClendon? I don't know how to pronounce your last name. How do you pronounce that? Is it McClendon? McClendon? I don't know. Either way. Yeah, and poor Smarty. Listen. You work on your Crystron stack. I was watching some videos on that. I guess needle fiber is really good. It's got a really solid effect and a lot of good setup. But I believe in you, young lad. It's got to work on the setup game personally. Anyway, I know that so we got the Black Clover chapter earlier this week as officials, and I know that a lot of people looked in at the leaks and the fan translations that came out like an entire week before, because usually, well, until recently, it was stuff would come out like for me Friday mornings, and then officials would come out Sundays, and it was like, oh yeah, like 2 days. Now like that was like a full week, and I'm wondering how it's gonna really kind of like stand out now, because I know both myself and a lot of other Black Clover YouTubers right now, a lot of the guys that review are actually trying to stick more with the officials, but not I don't think we're unable to not peek at the Raws and whatnot and fan translations just out of curiosity, but we're still trying to our best to support official release. But anyway, can't wait for these. Oh man, yeah, dude. So I can't think of any that aren't like really hype. Like Chainsaw Man just started a new arc. My Hero's starting to get in, starting to some of the villain stuff up. Jujutsu Kaisen just had the huge thing with Satoru. Black Clover's about to have, seemingly Zeno versus William. Yuno's gonna go up against these Dark Disciples. I'm pretty sure the Spade Kingdom is gonna win that bout. And I know a lot of people, is loved, and I know like William is still a controversial character within the fandom. Like you either love him or you hate him. But I don't think he's gonna be able to hold himself against Zeno at all. So we'll see how that goes, and really seeing what Zeno is gonna be capable of is gonna be really cool. Because I'm guessing that his bone magic is just his normal magic, and then his advanced version, like a demon one, like how Patriot's light magic, but then he's got demon light magic. I think he's gonna have some from evolved version. Though there are theories that he can steal magic, which would be cool, but I feel like it'd be too close to Raya personally. I kind of like the idea of him just being like a skeletal mage, because he could do a lot of that. If it's just one bone spell, I'm gonna be a little bit bummed. Dude, Black Clover. So the new opening. Oh my god! So when I first heard it, I was like, I'm not too sure about it. The animation when I was like I was gonna wait for the animation to really give like a full opinion, but like because it came out like a little over a day, just like the song itself before the opening, and that song stuck in my head like that entire day. And then afterwards, it was oh my god, it was fantastic. Like I think it's legit like 10 out of 10 opening. Fantastic stuff though. I feel like I should have changed the title because I wanted to talk about the unfairness for Crunchyroll. Like they like have you guys really seen that? Like Crunchyroll and their awards this year, there's like nothing for Black Clover at all. It's really ridiculous after like they had a really good year for the anime. Like Black Clover had like not even from a fan perspective. Like the anime had a great year with like a lot of new fans. Popularity went up. Tons of new like really good animation scenes. Like prior to 2019, like the two really like fluid fights in the series, you had like Yami's fight against quote unquote like to his patri, and then you had Asta versus Ludros, but they weren't the best anime. The animation gaps between those and like a really good animation fight now is immense, and the level just of progress was so good, and yet somehow like after everything that they got in and not just like a seasonal, it was the entire year, and somehow it doesn't get in any category. It was ridiculous. I thought that was so dumb, and I think there's some bias at Crunchyroll. I don't think I'm pretty sure the people that nominated are just like guys on staff. I don't think it's like a ballot by like fans picking what they think is the best one. I think I'm pretty sure the people that work there like here's what we like and you guys pick which is the best out of the ones we like, which is more of a it's more of which it's hey vote not from the overall best, vote from what we think is the best. And I think that's stupid. Poland is JoJo Nation. They like the big beefy fellas. Can't wait to see Charlotte and the other captains what they look like. I can't wait to see Zora, dude. I'm really hyped to see Zora. Zora's my favorite. It's my two favorite characters. My favorite male character in Black Clover is Zora. My favorite female character is Marileona. And I don't expect Marileona to be a whole lot different. I'm expecting Zora to have like a really cool new outfit. Zora is just badass to me. I love his character, I love his design, I love his backstory, his magic. So I am hyped to see what he's really capable of as well. Like he's because he doesn't have a lot of magics compared to a lot of characters. Like he really like he's mostly he's got his reflection traps, he's got his normal damage attacks, and he's got like pitfalls. Other than that, like he doesn't have a lot. I'm hoping he gets like a big trump card because that's the thing he doesn't have. Like Zora doesn't have like a big ace move that he could use. I'm hoping it's kind of like with the reflection, maybe it's like absorbing. Like imagine he had like an absorption type spell. It's not like hit reflect. It's hit absorb, and then he can kind of like absorb it and then get it all kind of like prepped up into like one big like just shot spell. Like I can lay one powerful trap that's like like a big explosion of ash magic that will maybe be like I guess it would really depend on who he's fighting, like how many attacks combined, because it would fit his because he's obviously like a trap dude. He's a prep like tactical character, so something like that where it's not like this is just my ace card. I can pull out like this big explosion. Like no, it comes from planning and how I scheme against whoever I'm fighting and what they're capable of, kind of like move. It would make sense. It's all up to Tabata. I think he really liked Zora, from what I could tell. I mean, he seems a pretty popular character. I don't know where he ranks. I forgot. I don't remember where he was in the last poll. But I know there's like normal characters, like fan popularity, and then there's obviously author popularity. So I'm hoping Zora takes in, a little bit of the spotlight because we don't know where he was at all during the time skip. We haven't seen him. We haven't heard from him. We don't know if he was solo training or maybe he went to go train like with one of the captains. Like imagine if he went off with Marileona and it was like, yeah, she would drop attacks at my reflection stuff, and we could see how like heavy she could attack, and then how hard I could reflect or set up reflection and trap speeds. Something really neat like that would be fantastic for him. Black Clover 10 is the dark version of Opening 3. Oh yeah, what are they called? Vic and Blanca? I can't remember what the band is called, but those guys, they did 10 and 3, and they're fantastic. I thought they were great. Rack's the first year of Crunchyroll Awards throughout over half of the awards of the same show. and the show is heavily pushed by Crunchyroll, like giving their own fan podcast. No joke. So how many have they had? I know that they had one last year. I think they had one the year before. I think they're very biased. I don't think it's a very fair system. Like the idea of Black Clover not being in anything, it's ridiculous. And I'm not saying this from a person who likes Black Clover. I very much like the series. It's one of my favorite weeklies right now, and it's one of the only animes I still follow because I mentioned before. Generally, I like mangas more than animes. And when I watch an anime, for the most part, it's if it's an adaptation of something I already like. I'll check stuff out if I don't know anything about it, but generally that's the case when it comes to anime. But I look at it of more of straight, their own numbers. They showed their own statistics and showed that Black Clover was very popular on their website. It's a very viewed series. You can go look at if you go look at what's popular. Black Clover is always up there. Like lately, it's been between My Hero Academia and Black Clover. It really has just been dependent on which one had the most recent episode. Whichever one had the most recent episode is usually what's in front. Whenever an episode of My Hero Academia comes out, it gets pushed in front of Black Clover. Whenever a Black Clover episode comes out, it gets back ahead of My Hero Academia. They're very popular right now, so I can understand where the idea of popularity comes into play for those two. With My Hero Academia, I can understand why it wouldn't be in a lot of the 2019 spots because the new season only just started, and a lot of the big meteor stuff is only happening right now. Like they just had the big defeat of Overhaul, and they still have the Gentle fight coming up. So I can see where it'll get a lot more hype for 2020. But Black Clover did great in 2019, so it's so strange to me because they even showed again their own statistics to show how popular it was in a lot of places, like Africa and a lot of Europe. It was the most watched anime of the decade, so it's silly. And again, it's not a favoritism thing for me because I look at it. Fairy Tail's anime ended in 2019. I'm a big Fairy Tail fan. I'm admit it's my favorite series, and I don't why is it in anything? I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm all right with it not being in there. I know it wasn't as hype as a lot of series. It didn't get a lot of animation love that I wish it did, but I can understand why the large scale kind of across the board Crunchyroll kind of subscriber count, people that would get involved in this voting wouldn't vote for it. So I can get that. Personally, for stuff like Best Girl, I think someone like Noelle or Lucy should have really been in there after all their efforts. Nezuko gets in there, really? Lucy helped save the world, and this is a character who started out as just a barely able to even control her own summons character. Most of the part was kind of getting in the way. Could only really do stuff other than get looted. And then look how strong she's become. Look how independent and skillful she is. And then same thing with Noelle. But there's oh, let's put Nezuko in there. And I'm like, Nezuko's a fine character. She is absolutely not deserving of this category. It's ridiculous. But whatever. Let me scroll up and see some of the comments, see what some of those you guys have to say. And I'd really appreciate it if you guys would, thumbs up the stream. Maybe like the tweet that I put out. Maybe see if any of your friends would want to come over, ask questions. It's not restricted to any of the series that I primarily talk about here. If you guys want to ask, if if I've ever read or watched a specific series, you can. Or if there's any series that that I'm into that I just don't talk about as much, you can ask me and I will, give my response on it. Something like Zipman, very new, and I am enjoying it. So if you, maybe want to ask about that or something, I don't know. Deku Body's asked that. That's, the people about that think that Deku can take us is ridiculous. So something that's funny to me is if you go by anime only, you only know about the animes, you watch both, it's going to be hilarious in the next couple episodes. After they see, oh man, look how powerful Overhaul was and how powerful he was for fighting. They're gonna see really what the Word Devil is fully capable of, and they're gonna be, oh shit, never mind. Way stronger over here. Black Clover's power level is way higher than My Hero Academia's. You can like whichever one you like more, and you can talk about whatever is more popular. But it comes to power levels and stuff. Power levels are it's not something you kind of look at from a subjective standpoint. It's no, you show stuff that's on screen, and you can talk about what's canon. And you can use feats and abilities of characters, and factually, Black Clover has absurdly higher power levels than My Hero Academia. Overall, cool character. I like him. I don't love him. I like him. He's got a pretty good quirk. He absolutely cannot stack up against the Word Devil. The Word Devil would have completely run through everybody in My Hero Academia, no problem. I meant to say anime of the decade. Yeah. Oh my god. Some of these guys. I mean, here's the thing. I can get like hype when something is new and fresh, and it's like, man, this is great. I love this. This is like, what train I'm riding right now. But there's a difference between like what I like right now versus like the decade. You got to think of like lasting effects, like what exactly came out in like a decade, and what like really like changed genres. What was the most ones you actually think of? Not just, oh yeah, I really like this right now. It's like again, I don't mean to pick on My Hero Academia, but Overhaul. Overhaul, and he's the main bad guy right now. People like him because he's fresh. He's the villain in the anime. He's a neat guy, but after his arc, he's very forgettable. Like he doesn't leave a huge impact on the series. I'm sure, like in terms of the anime now, because you're gonna have that really cool fight with Deku. Well, it's not really a fight. Deku mauled him the second he got that power up. But you can look at the animation scene, and you can look at it from a standpoint of Deku. Like for me, Fairy Tail Zero is not a very memorable bad guy in comparison to all the other bad guys in the series. But I love that fight because I love well, for one, the art was fantastic in that one, but also I love that Natsu got the golden flames. That's the only time he ever had it. I don't know why the anime keeps giving golden flames, but it was really cool for him. He had a really cool big badass Dragon Force fight. He got to fight a guild master, which was really big for his character. So I remember that. So I can understand the idea of yeah, overall's really cool. I like overall for like the fans. But here's the thing, and especially comparison to like the Word Devil, because they're obviously My Hero Academia and Black Clover get compared a lot, and some people don't like that. But when series get popular, they always get paired up with another series they get compared to. That's been a long time since. That's not new. And obviously, when you have a villain like right now, Black Clover, the Word Devil, My Hero Academia, Overhaul, factually you can like whichever one more. But here's the thing, factually, and if you're anime only, this is going to be a little bit of a spoiler, but not really. In My Hero Academia, after Overhaul's arc, he's forgotten about. He's not really like he doesn't leave a big impact on the series. The Word Devil does. The Word Devil opens up a huge can of worms with people now knowing about devils. It shakes a whole lot of issues with the Clover Kingdom's entire magic parliament, and it really puts Asta and crew in a really bad spot because Asta, his power is drawn from a devil. So you can like which one you want. When it talks about like really the level of impact though they have on their respective series, the Word Devil is massively bigger. I mean that's just factual. Overall's cool, but after his arc, he's gonna be forgotten about, and especially as long as the animation team does well on Gentle's fights, because I think Gentle's fight is way better than Overhaul's. Over the second Deku gets his power up, like he mauls Overhaul, which is understandable. Usually when characters get the main character gets their first big power up form, they crush their enemies. Again, Black Clover. What happened when Asta first got it? He first got his black form. He destroyed Ladros. He destroyed him. So Asta getting his first real power up, the infinite 100%, and it is a power up form. Like legitimately, his hairstyle changes. It turns colors. He gets glowing eyes. He mauls him. So I don't look at them and be like, he just beat up on that bad guy. That was Slim. No, it was his first power-up fight. That's where they have leeway to really just beat up on the bad guy. I would be a hypocrite if I said, anything negative about, My Hero Academia based on that. The Gentle fight, though, was awesome. The Gentle fight is so much cooler because with the Overhaul fight, I knew that Deku couldn't really get touched. He was never going to get touched by Overhaul because Overhaul could one-shot kill him. Gentle, though, could hit him multiple times, and he used his power in a lot more interesting way. And if you haven't read the manga, like this dude is awesome. Like he can turn I won't go into much spoilers, but his power is essentially he can make stuff elastic. So he could take like a big steel girder, probably weighs like 1,000 pounds, and bend it back like rubber and then release it, but it still has the weight of 1,000-pound metal pillar slamming into you. So, he does a lot of cool stuff with his abilities. And I like that more because it opened up a lot more room for it to be a fight. Because, like, again, with Overhaul, it's like, he's not going to hit him. It's more of an emotional fight, which, again, I understand. Gentle, though, was emotional, and it had a lot of really good action. It had a lot of fighting choreography. It was a much cooler one. I like that fight. So, just putting that out there. Again, I like Gentle way more than Overhaul, but I've been vocal about that before. Glad we're getting something for development for the characters. Just one Asta, one up Asta when he showed up. I'm curious about this. So I've mentioned before, because people ask me, like, who do you think stronger between, X, Y, and Z since the time skip? Right now, we can't really assess a lot of the characters because we haven't seen them in the time skip. We don't know what they're capable of. Maybe worked more on his position in the Golden Dawn than as much of power levels. Doubt it, because we know there's a war coming up. But for say he didn't focus on firepower, he focused on something else. Like he focused further on developing like spirit abilities or something. Maybe he focused on just I want to increase my total quantity of magic for stamina, like long range fighting purposes or something. We do know what Asta's capable of right now, and it wasn't even like a strain for him. That's one thing to note. If you go back and look at Asta when he uses his Black Divider against that Spade Kingdom captain, he doesn't look strained at all. There's no sweat marks, there's no panting, he looks fine. So that level of attack is probably just like okay, I gotta get a little bit more serious now. I doubt that's his biggest move at the moment. He probably has something bigger. Maybe like he can combine Black Divider of that size with a Black Meteorite, and maybe it'll be like Black Asteroid or something. Maybe Black Hurricane becomes like Black Typhoon or like Black Maelstrom, and those are like his real big attacks right now. But if we compare what we know of right now, Asta and Asta definitely has more like going on. I'm worried about because whereas Asta, it's like you had a bunch of no-name bad guys who didn't matter. Their designs were meh. They were literally there for him to get beat up and to show off his powers. Is facing some strong characters. He's going against Dark Disciples. If he somehow and he's going against two at once, so I think it's going to be rather hard for him. And even if he somehow beat them, Zeno is there. So it's not like he's in an easy spot. And I really doubt William is able to take Zeno at all. I really doubt that that William is going to be able to handle Zeno, because we already know the Dark Triad are not people to be really messed with. I don't see the idea of one captain being able to fight one of them when these are their three biggest spots right under Megicula. So it would be very strange to me for Tabata to have William even stand a chance against Zeno. I think he's personally going to have at least Patri show up and help him, if anything. Maybe like that entire squad of elves and come up and aid the dude. What's up, J. Ham Williams? How's it going? How are you doing today? Deku will never body. The Deku bodies Goku. Yeah, people are being silly. I think the mockery is kind of goofy because what's funny is, like, I understand why the My Hero Academia fan base is really hyped right now. They just had a really good episode. Their main character just got to have his first real power-up form, and he got to really just crush the bad guy. He got to crush him. So it was really hype for him, hype for their fan base. I get it. People are being a little bit mean, making fun of that. So the thing is, I would rather just let him have it, because I can tell you this. In a couple episodes, we're going to be getting some real Asta hype and really some Black Clover hype in general. And I expect the Black Clover fan base to be just as vocal, if not more vocal, because it's not just Asta that's getting spotlight. It's going to be Asta, Patri, Licht, Lumiere, Yami. It's going to be like pretty much everyone of it. And the villain. We can talk about the Word Devil, because when he starts to really pop off, he's aggressive. He's going to, really freak people out. And really, I know that the big weird bird mouth form for Overhaul was cool, but the Word Devil is so much more of a intimidating force of a villain, and especially when he gets all the mouths and he starts summoning that really cool like ooze leech creature from the other realm. Super hype from that. Black Clover is the most popular anime in Europe. Yeah, I saw that. It was good job, Europe. They're loving it too. They love the sick magic and wizards. I personally love fantasy. I like fantasy the most. I can still get into like sci-fi and superhero stuff, but I love fantasy. That's my favorite. I'm really hoping that Black Clover gives us a real dragon at some point. Just as a side note, I know we have Salamander, but he's a spirit that looks like a dragon. I want to see what Tabata because Salamander looks like a really plain dragon. I want to see a Tabata or like original dragon. If he said, I want to draw my own dragon, this is what I'm going to have. Because for me, I can look at Hiroshima. Rave Master Dragon. It's funny if you've never touched anything by Hiroshima. If you look at Rave Master, which is his first big series, his dragons were super plain. They were very basic dragons. Then he got into Monster Hunter, And then you go over to like Fairy Tail, and like Igneel started out pretty standard dragon, but I think that was on purpose. He's a fire dragon. He's supposed to look pretty against standard fire dragon. But after that point, all his dragons started to look crazy, and I love him. I love his crazy, like his very strange looking, very unique design dragons. Actually, well, he had some unique ones like the Meogaluna in his Monster Hunter short series, so I can use that as well. But I want to see what Tabata, what his dragon designs are really like. But I do like that. I love dragons. Even if I'm not a huge fan of the series, I can enjoy like certain things like dragon designs. That's one of the things that gets me a little salty about One Piece because I'm not a huge fan of Oda's dragons. He does very, very standard dragons. And I'm like, just give me one. Just give me one really cool dragon. And I don't know. Kaido's like, I wish that he gave him some like, because Kaido I don't think is human. He's got horns by default. I think he's some like ogre race or something. I wish that he combined it and maybe kind of like took the normal dragon design and then maybe tweaked it a little bit, or something. I don't hate it. I just wish that he, more crazy dragons. Easy way to get me interested in the series is show me some really cool dragon designs. Black Clover's 10th opening is my top opening. Now, mine too. I was skeptical if it would be 3, but I love 10. 10 is so good. Because the animation was also one of the reasons I really liked Black Clover opening 10, or it's opening 3. I love the part in opening 10 when you have, the Word Devil and he opens his arms and you just have, all that like ooze, like weird leech creatures completely coated the room. And all the characters are just moving around looking for ways to attack him. I love that part. I think that's such a cool small bit just to have, and it really just shows like all these characters like working together to really kind of go up against him. I loved it. I loved it so much. I'm super stoked for these next couple episodes. Like they're ready to go off. And I've seen like the animation crew on these guys. They're really putting in a lot of effort for these next couple episodes. Which is good, because after that, like, once we cool down from the Word Devil, there's a good amount of chapters where converted into episodes where we don't need it's not a lot of action based, so, they can settle, they can take a breather and just get kind of like into a normal, just standard kind of animation. I'm hoping it still looks clean and not kind of like the unfortunate styles of early Black Clover, but enough that it's like, you guys can take a break, just be casual and comfortable. And I am curious to know if they're going to have any filler, because we're getting dangerously close to the manga. The anime right now, I think they just finished chapter 202, I think 202, and we're at 235 right now on the manga. They need to open a gap. I'd be perfectly fine with a filler arc, as long as the filler arc is fun. The issue with filler arcs is whether or not they're enjoyable. And I've talked to a couple people about it. Here's what I want that would make it easy and fun, is tackle some dungeons. Like, dungeons exist in Black Clover, but we haven't seen many of them. Like, we haven't seen a lot of, cool, them finding, like, we haven't seen a lot of monsters in Black Clover. We haven't seen them just, like, straight out in the wild, like, magical creatures. We haven't seen, this dungeons, maybe, like, maybe one of Asta, like, one of his pieces of gear that he's got, from the time skip, is actually an item from a dungeon. Like I mentioned in my video I did earlier about him having gear, is I wish that he would get something, like some form of trinket that would let him call back his swords to his hand. He ended up getting that as an ability. But maybe it's actually like a piece of gear that he has, in fact, and it's like explained through like an anime only arc that maybe like Tabata works on it and says like, oh yeah, just do these things and it'll be canon. And it's like, oh, they go to the dungeon, Asta and crew get certain things. It would also explain, like, how they're able to get so much more powerful instead of just training. Because it's like, oh, yeah, they go in and they do dangerous stuff in a dungeon, so they get, like, field experience, but also they get specific, magic tools and items that will increase their arsenal and give them an edge going into this next part. Like, maybe something for, Noelle that will help, again, further control her magic. Because she's got like a lot better skill, but maybe it's like, oh yeah, now you can it'll double certain aspects about like your range. So maybe if instead of like regularly, because it's controlled, then she will be able to do certain other things. Like maybe she'll be able to straight turn her in her Valkyrie dress, turn her lance into her Sea Dragon, but keep it that way. And be able to kind of like free range move it around, and just a lot more stuff going on for it. Or maybe
she'll be able to, turn it into different weapons, maybe make a shield, maybe turn it into like, big wings or something to increase speed. I don't know. It's just anything in there to really just be like oh, cool, you guys got some new tech, or I guess not tech, gear, in order to increase, whatever you got for this upcoming war. One for All 100% was awesome. Yeah, I was happy with it. Uh, I, I woke up, so I fell asleep on my couch. I woke up because like my cat knocked over some laundry, and I was like, oh crap, did my cat just get buried by all this laundry? And no, and I was like, oh crap, it's like 5 in the morning. I'm gonna go to bed. When I got in bed, I was like, oh yeah, the episode's out. So I watched it, and like near the end, I was like, wow, this looks really good. But I'm hoping this ends soon because I want to go to sleep. But I wanted to see what the animation looked like before I woke up and got spoiled on Twitter of just like, hey, this 15-second scene. It's like, no, I want to see it without in the whole episode. But it was good. I was happy. I know a lot of My Hero Academia fans are pretty stoked about the the level of animation they got and how much of a nice moment it was for Deku, both as like action and animation, but also as a character. So that was nice. Very good for them. Shiki is an anti-hero. I'm going with anti-villain. Again, I'm going with anti-villain on him. Detroit Smash greater than Falcon Punch. Is there a Captain Falcon anime? I only know that there's some games. I don't know a whole lot. Captain Falcon is one of those characters that I know about, but I don't really know a whole lot about. Oh, hang on, I accidentally like scrolled over past some stuff. Do you watch Seven Deadly Sins anime? I used to. I feel bad for the fans that are experiencing this. The anime awards were based on the quality. Darling the Franxx would be nowhere to be seen in 2018. Or is 2018 when they started? I didn't watch Darling the Franxx. I was kind of interested, but I'm still like, maybe I'll watch it one day. Sometimes hype stuff I kind of like get turned away from because some of the you've seen people that will hype on a new series where instead of it's like, oh cool, this is the thing right now, instead of like, this is the best thing ever, and it's like, you said that series like 3 months ago was the best thing ever. Those kind of guys are like, listen, but it's fun, it's new, but it doesn't instantly tread down everything else that I've liked. Episodes 118, 119 will be good. Oh yeah, so I think Yoshihara is on both those episodes. I know both of those episodes are hyped up, and they said January was going to have the hype episode because everyone thought it was going to be episode 115 because Yoshihara was on that one. But apparently it's the next one he's on, which I think is 118. And I'm pretty sure that's going to be the fight between Lumiere and Demon Lake. So I'm stoked for that. That fight looks, oh my god. And especially because one thing that is hilarious to me that I think will be perfect is the anime always starts out with the whole like explanation of the Wizard King. And that episode it's going to hit so much harder starting out with that, and then you see the actual events. It's like, again, when you find out, go look at chapter 1, you see the demon for the first time. It's like, oh yeah, it just looks cool. He's like crying blood, but then you find out he was crying because the whole events that happened, and find out that flashback. Oh my god, so many things it's gonna be really cool. I'm really excited for that episode. I can't wait to see Black Divider. I can't wait to see Spirit of Zephyr. It's all gonna be so hype. And again, I'm really looking forward to Black Clover fandom hype train when those episodes come out. But will it be episode 100? I think it will. I think it absolutely will. I think those episodes are really going to really just run the hype train, everything like down. It's gonna be so good. I'm stoked. What anime have you seen this year? I think the only one that I've watched recently is Black Clover. Like, again, I don't watch a lot of like anime just like, oh yeah, it's popular. Now, usually I'll watch stuff that I've already been watching. Like last year it was mostly Black Clover, Fairy Tail, Yu-Gi-Oh. I watched Cautious Hero, I think like last week. But right now I haven't watched a lot of anime because I've been rewatching Gotham because I haven't watched the last season yet, so I'm rewatching it all. And then after that I'm thinking of picking up some more stuff. I'm stoked for the Jujutsu Kaisen anime. I think that's gonna be really good. There's an isekai coming up. I can't remember the name of it, but I actually really like it. I'm looking forward to that anime. I'm really skeptical when it comes to isekai. I do like this one. I can't remember what it's called. It's got one of those really long isekai names where it's like, come on, man. Just because it's an isekai doesn't mean you can give it a really goofy name. That's the thing about isekais also that always bothers me. It's like, you don't need some overly silly name just to be overly silly, man. Come on. Solo Leveling. I haven't read Solo Leveling. Orient hype. I'm really hoping Orient gets an anime soon. I'm also really hoping that it gets an English release. I like Orient. I'm just bummed that it doesn't have one. Like I don't even get like a consistent fan translation for Orient. I legitimately enjoy it. I like the theme. I like the story. I like the main character a lot. Generally, if I like, I know my a lot of my takes on the series. Well, a lot of my care for a series is heavily always influenced by how much I like the main character because it's the character you see the most. I think you need you gotta have a good main character. You can have good side characters, but the character you're gonna see primary focus to me, I think should always if you're gonna really get into a series, especially for long periods of time, you should like. But generally for me, there's not a lot of main characters I just don't like. I mean, like Ash Ketchum, I don't like because for some reason they reset his memory, like he just never ages, like he doesn't notice that he's he's still 10. I really wish that it was just like age slowly instead, because obviously for him in his world it's gonna go at a different pace than in real life time, but it's like kind of weird that they just always have him as 10 years old. It makes it feel like it's like an anime and more kind of like a silly cartoon where you don't need to take stuff seriously. I think Gentle was the best villain in My Hero Academia so far. Yeah, I like Gentle. I know a lot of people like Tamura. I think he's got the most potential. But the thing I really liked about Gentle is he felt like a shonen main character that didn't get main character treatment. Like no matter like he was always failing, he had bad grades, things just weren't working out for him. But he's always really positive. He always kept a good attitude about himself. He never gave up, but it didn't ever like reward him, and it just kept getting worse and worse, which I like. I like that idea. That's why I really like him. I'm hoping that when the big villain war that's coming up, that he makes a return and he does, he saves people, and I want him to be, the bad guy that switches sides, because a lot of series have that. Naruto has Gaara, Fairy Tail has Gajio. I'm guessing Eden's will have Jin. Black Clover has Mars. I'm hoping with My Hero Academia, it's Gentle, because not only do I like him, I think he's got one of the best quirks in the series because how versatile it is, how like much he's used it in various ways, and it's not like, oh yeah, I just have this really OP quirk where I have to touch you and I can erase you or do like all this reconstruction. It's like, no, this guy is able, he's walks into a room, he's probably scanned the environment of how he's going to use everything around him in fighting, and he can literally make air in front of him elastic, which is really cool. I love that idea. Deku does his little flicks, shoots a little air pressure blast at him. Gentle makes a spot in front of him elastic, and it just bounces back. That's really neat. I love that. I love like very versatile kind of like characters like that. Because like crazy powers again they're fun. Again, the word devil, very fun. I like Hack's powers like that. But when you make it so unfair, like again Overhaul and versus Deku, it's like I know he's never gonna get touched. That's kind of like where I'm a little bit iffy with Tamura, because his power is very broken and Deku doesn't really have any means to fight it. Comparison, right? Natsu, main character of Fairy Tail. He eventually fights Zeref. Zeref has lots of crazy powers. Zeref, as his personality, doesn't use a lot of them because he really wanted to have like a good match against his brother. But also, Natsu could burn all these crazy magics because his magic can burn other magics. You have a way that's like, oh yeah, I've developed a way to counteract your crazy hacks. Deku could, he doesn't right now. That's why I'm worried about that fight in the future. But Gentle, fantastic fight. It's kind of like again another one is Luffy versus like Crocodile, how all those kind of early matches were until he figured out how to counter him, versus like Lucci, where he had that it was just like a straight brawler fight. That's one of the reasons I really love Dragon Slayer fights in Fairy Tail, because they're generally not, oh I have a crazy power. Usually Dragon Slayers have a perk, but for the most part they're straight hard-bodied combat mages, and they show it. So I am looking forward to the Gentle fight. Those fights are always just really fun. I love seeing just some straight brawl battles. Mob Psycho 100 JoJo, my favorite anime of the decade. I need to watch Mob Psycho at some point. I need to watch that. I may be saving that. I'm thinking about eventually having, because I know I think there's only one YouTuber I generally follow that's an anime reviewer, because for the most part, the only time I really watch like an anime reaction is when it's a hype scene. Like I'll probably watch some of the parts I'm like, oh yeah, Deku's big moment in the last episode. I'll probably look at some of the guys and just to see like their hype, because it's fun. I'm thinking about like doing like a Patreon, and like the thing is with a Patreon, like generally it's like you gotta have something to give back. I don't really know what I would give to people. I'd probably only have like probably like low tiers of like, I don't know, $1 and $3 or something, and then maybe do like, oh yeah, we can watch anime together, or I can do anime reviews and like live action ones, and well, not live action, live reactions, because I just small stuff, and obviously like I don't like to do anime reactions because YouTube. I think the only one I kind of do is Ruby, but I do still images instead of watching along with it because if you don't do reviews, just so you know, anime like it's manga reviews are way less often hit. Anime reviews get hit a lot. That's why when you see a lot of anime reviewers, they make it really small. They kind of like make the screen transparent. They mess with the sound a little bit. You'll see like little skips between scenes. And it's because it's to avoid getting copyright strikes. So when it comes to like, I know there's a lot of guys when they do a lot of like full watch alongs, they do it through like Patreon. If I eventually do that, I would definitely only do something like, oh yeah, we'll watch an anime. Maybe if you give so much, you can pick, the show. I would have to do something that's fair enough because it's not like I have merchandise or anything. So it'd have to be something low priced, but kind of like a little bit fair. Because if it was on another platform, I couldn't do it from YouTube if I was going to do something like this. That's just an idea for the future. I have been recently trying to think of more ways to do more content because I do want to watch more animes, and it would also give me a little bit of nudge and incentive to watch more of these shows. Because again, there's a lot of series that I don't end up watching. But say you're somebody who's like, man, I really want to see Rex's opinions on these things. Like I've only seen up to part 3 of JoJo. Maybe you're a big JoJo guy like Smarty, and it's like, Rex, I want you to watch JoJo. I'm gonna strong arm you into watching JoJo. That would be a way. It's just an idea. I'm thinking about it. I don't want to like try and make it like a huge paywall. Again, if I did it, I would make it so like relatively anybody that's like, I like your content. I want to come look. I'm willing to pay, I don't know, $1 or $2 a month to come, watch anime with you or something. Again, I don't know. I still have to figure it out. I want it to be fair, but at least I'll wait for me to get a little bit extra. This is a plan. Tell me your thoughts about that, though. In your opinion, would you want to? I don't know how many people actually really like my opinions as much, how many people would be interested in that, but maybe there's some people, maybe there's a couple of you who'd be like, I'm willing to give you $1 or $2 a month to do that. I don't know. Dobby best one. Dobby makes me so frustrated. He makes me so frustrated because I think he's really cool. He's got a cool power. He's got blue fire. He's got a cool design. Every time I think he's going to do something, he doesn't, and it makes me sad. So I've liked this character since his introduction. I've really wanted to see him. There's the kind of like stuff in there like, oh, exactly how is he ready to Endeavor? I think it's obvious at that point he's the son that he thought he died. Unless he's somehow like the reanimated corpse or the clone. I don't really know. I wanted him to be like an Endeavor clone because one of the things about like superhero stuff is clones are very frequent and they don't really have that. I'm not talking about clone powers. I'm like, oh, the evil clone, blah, blah, blah. It's a thing that's a lot in comics. I don't have to be a comic expert to know that. I've seen it a lot. And I just wish it was in My Hero Academia. Maybe they can save that for the future. Maybe make Clone All Might or something. But, I wish he would get more time. I like him. Shiki's an anti-hero. We talked about this. This is a huge surprise. All for 100% was awesome. I thought it was cool. Deku's trash. I don't think he's trash. I'm not a huge fan of Deku, but I like him. I like Asta a lot more. I mean, I like a lot of the current like new gen main characters. I like Shiki more. I like Denji more. I like Yuji more. But I still think that Deku is fine. I get why people like him. I don't think he's a bad character. Can't wait for Gentle Spite Me too. I like him a lot. Black Clover's 10th opening is top. Yeah, it's my top 2 right now. Gentle's fight was much more interesting than the overhaul, but the overall fight was bigger scale. Yeah, what's up? How's it going, Elric? Yeah, so it was bigger scale, which I get. It was a much bigger kind of results villain, but the fight, it was much more showing obviously this power up. You had to see Deku just be like big scale hero at that time. I think the Gentle fight is cooler also because Deku is kind of fighting by himself and it's much more of his own power. But also I just really like Gentle. I think he's really neat. I'm hoping he comes back. I really want to. I mean, it's not like he's dead. But I'm hoping he comes back in a way that's not just like, oh yeah, existing it. I'm hoping it's like, oh yeah, some character's about to die, and then Gentle shows up, and you just see like a character's attack bounce back, and then like you see like the like fluttering of his cape, and it's him, and he just has his whole introduction. And I'm really hoping that'd be awesome. Or it's like he's got there and he has a camera and he's just like, time to make some videos. That'd be really cool. Actually, I like that idea of like that would just make him badass to have it like not only him appear, but also it's like I'm gonna try to get some YouTube views off of this. I think that would fit him. I love the dude. They ruined Escanor Meliodas fight. Yeah, they did. I feel really bad for Seven Deadly Sins fans. Like even with my kind of like back and forth like take on Seven Deadly Sins and how much I can be pretty shifted on how I feel about it at times. I feel bad for the fans. Like they got shafted. Black Divider is pretty much Asa's signature move, like Goku's Kamehameha, Naruto's Rasengan, and Ishigo's Getsuga Tensho. Yeah, like cause that's like his first real ability. It's like it's an anti-spell. That's his first real thing. He just gets an elongated sword, gives him way bigger slashes, but also one thing though, it also makes him a way bigger shield. Because, he can not only just make it longer, I imagine he can make it wider. He sticks it in the ground, big spells come in, he can just extend it out. You have a big anti-magic wall. I really like that. So because that was one of the things that I really liked about like the whole display of Asta after the time skip. Not just like it was cool, like his new way of going into his anti-magic form. He's got the two swords in front of him, and he pretty much kind of like it reminds me of like Frankenstein or someone like holding on a Tesla coils. Can't remember where I got that in my head, but that's what I think about. But I really liked it when Asta was fighting. He could use Black Divider like nothing. It was just casual to him. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing more of what he's got. Wouldn't William technically have a power up too? No way. We don't know what William's been up to. We don't know like how much he's been working, but I really doubt he's going to be able to stand up against Zeno. I don't see him being able to stand up against Zeno. I think he's going to get clapped soon. Which again, that's fine with me. You gotta hype up Zeno. Oh, hang on. God, I keep accidentally scaling and losing my spot. Where was I? It was right. There was about to be a comment about Orient type. Oh God, where was I? Hang on, folks. I know I like dragons, man. I can't help it. I'm scrolling. Here we go. When I think of Ranmai Haki, I think of Luffy getting owned so hard. Big Mom was being gentle. I don't like Big Mom. I think she's super lame. I like Kaido. The funny thing is all of the Yonko in One Piece have been consistently like shown as being powerhouses, except Big Mom. Big Mom, like in her arc, she got clowned on a lot. She got blocked by Capone. She got blocked by Chopper. She got her Zeus Cloud stolen by Nami. She got knocked off their ship by Jinbei. She got blitzed by Brook. Like, I don't know. Like, Big Mom does not come off as like a really like the only thing about her that seems like at all like oh yeah to look out for is the fact that she's just durable. She's just a big slow moving wall. And then you look at like Kaido. Kaido's big, but he's not slow. He blitzed the hell out of Luffy and one shot him. Like Whitebeard was like another giant force, but he wasn't slow. I don't know. Big Mom to me is just super lame. I don't like her. I like all the other Yonko, but I don't like Big Mom. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of Oda's women. I don't think he really cares a whole lot about them. He doesn't really give him a whole lot of like cred. I don't know. I mean, look at like Hancock. She's got a pretty meh fruit, and like all she really does is just like, oh, I got big legs for kicking. It's like you get all these guys all these other really cool powers. And look at Moria. Dude can make like zombies and then absorb shadows and become a giant like whale devil looking guy. Everyone is here. Yeah, how's it going, everybody? If William doesn't push him to Zeno to break that stupid because he was next Wizard King, that doesn't mean he's not. He was in a line to be, and a lot of people would think, hyped up for the position because the progress of the Golden Dawn. That doesn't mean that he's strong enough to beat him. As far as we know, each of the Dark Triad are going to be Wizard King level. It would make they're not captain level. If legitimately, so here's the thing. Legitimately, if the Dark Triad were so easy to defeat, you literally just had to have a captain. Like if William's able to push him, then 2 captains should be able to beat him. And you have 9 captains. You have more than that because you also have retired captains. So you put them against the Dark Triad, they'd be able to win. Zeno should be somebody that could fight someone like Julius. He should be able to fight someone like Julius. I absolutely think that if you put him like Julius at his peak against Zeno at his peak, Zeno should be as strong, if not stronger. Because again, if these characters are so easily beaten that all it would really take is like a couple of captains, then where's the hype for them? Where's the spot for them to really kind of like be a dominating force? We already saw, like, it looks like these guys, the Dark Disciples, are able to run through the Golden Dawn, then someone like Xeno should be way more powerful. Plus, it would dehype the Dark Triad, it would dehype the Spade Kingdom, but also dehype these guys with the fact that they have boosts from Magicula. I don't like the idea. Like, I get if you like William, I get if you like the captains. I don't think that one captain would have any chance against any of the Dark Triad. I don't think Yami could. I don't think William could. I don't think Marileona could. And Marileona, I'm a big fan of her, and I think that she's the most powerful captain, but I don't think that she would stand a chance against Xeno. I don't think any captain in Black Clover right now could 1v1 any of the Dark Triad. The Dark Triad getting beaten this early, or even pushed this early to any considerable degree, would hurt the hype of the Spade Kingdom. He needs to run through William. Because this is not only the first real display of the Spade Kingdom, it is the first time we are seeing it's the first time we're seeing one of the Dark Triad, and two, it's against a captain. If he gets pushed, then it's like, oh, well, then where's our worry? What do we have to be worried about? I mean, because like again, like what is the threat then? What's the threat if William is able to push him? Then okay, you have Patri in there. Patri's already like really powerful. He can just start throwing captains at these guys. I think that Xeno probably could take all the captains at once. I legitimately do. He is supposed to be a big dominating force. The Spade Kingdom is supposed to be the most powerful kingdom. The Dark Triad are supposed to be huge. I don't think for a second that they're gonna in any way get pushed. If one of them starts getting pushed this early on, then where's the hype? Overall, it's a cool villain, but I did not like the arc. I didn't like the arc overall. I liked like parts of it. I liked Lemillion. I thought Sun Eater was okay. I did like Kirishima. I like Red Riot as a character. I think he's really cool. The overall arc, I'm kind of like, eh. Like, one of the things about that arc that will forever bother me, because for what I can get, people can like Ochako. I'm not a fan of her. I think the part where she, all of them come down, and then it's like, oh, cool, they're going to help. And then they don't. I'm just like, it's one of the things that makes me dislike her character, because she's present in a lot of big events, but she doesn't do anything. I mean, look at the movie. Look at My Hero Academia's first movie. It is canon. Ochako was in the movie. She doesn't really do anything. She does relatively nothing. Look at the overall arc. She relatively does nothing. She like stands up and like says like, oh yeah, you guys need to give back. She does like crowd control. She's not being a support character. She's not saying, because like if she showed up and helped Deku and was like, oh, I'm going to use my gravity powers to, try and ward off some of Overhaul's like ranged attacks, that'd be great. That'd be great, but she doesn't. And it makes me not like her character, because I can be okay with her character not being like a huge fighter. I like Orihime. I think Orihime is a pretty good character. I don't like it when characters just exist and they don't do anything, especially someone who should be a major character like Ochako. She's the lead female. Unless for some reason she's just like kicked out of the way for someone like, what's her name, Melissa, the girl from the movie, or that other tech girl, which I would prefer, then she should be doing stuff. Another thing is she has a really good power. She has one of the best powers in the series. It's not only gravity manipulation. Like I think there's a part in one of the volumes where Horikoshi explains that it's not really just gravity manipulation. It does some like weird like time. It's like time space manipulation, because you're like making this thing void out from gravity or something. There was some weird explanation that it wasn't just basic gravity manipulation. It really messed with it like on a spatial sense. And I was like, how does this girl have this good of an ability, but she doesn't do anything? I don't know. I think that's weird. I think that's weird to me. Discord. Maybe. I'm hoping something. I've got some plans. I love mystery anime. I don't remember the last time I watched a mystery series. Or it could be a great healer if she could train her quirk. I'm wondering what would happen if her power clashed with like Tamura's. Like who would win? I know Jahimus. I love dragons, man. I can't help it. What were the names of the other Dark Triad? Vanica and Dante. My favorite mystery anime is Monster. I still haven't read Monster. I gotta get to that eventually. I know Fusion really likes that. He wants me to read it at some point. Black Clover 18 is going to animate the 4 chapters when Mirror fights the demon god. Like, I'm stoked for that. The paneling is really cool. I actually really like the light speed movement of like the way that they animate in Black Clover. Like I watched the all the big hype fights today because I'm still a little salty. They didn't, and none of them were even nominated for Crunchyroll's awards. But like that was one of my favorite things about the fight, Julius and Patri. I really liked the way that they kind of like have a like moving fast, and then whenever it's like light speed, he just like stops being like a solid thing. You see him kind of like become a blur and then light, and you hear that like little laser sound effect. I love that. I love that the way that they did that, and I'm pretty happy the way that it's like all handled. So I'm looking forward to the fight with Lumiere because it is noted from Patri, who is a light mage, that Lumiere's light abilities were like much more powerful than him. They're on a different level. Mafia. What does that do with anything? To me, I can't wait for Asta to get his full demon form. That'll be a ways down the line. Right now, so he's able to go in his anti-magic form way easier and probably can hold it out more. I'm hoping he like when he's like serious, he can go into that like kind of like progressed form we saw at near the end of the in the fight when him and like damaged the War Devil for the first time. I'm hoping he can kind of go into that like normally where it extends out to his cloak and he can get the extra horn. His his first horn grows, like his wing gets a little bit different. I'm hoping he can go into that like at will. It is a slow progress, but I think that's important because like if he eventually gets it, then what's next? If he could just do it right now. I like that it's a slower process, somewhat how I like Deku's getting percentages of one for all much slower than like right now. I think right now he generally uses 8? He uses like 5 and then 8 and then 20 is kind of like where his last scene max is. He can probably move up to like 30 or something now after because they just went through a lot of recent training. I would assume he could do a higher percentage than 20 right now, or just like fight 20 regularly. I'm hoping that Asta's voice actor continues to improve throughout. He has shown tremendous growth. I really like his voice actor, and I'm pretty sure his Japanese voice actor, this is his first, I think this is his first, like, role. I think Asta was his first role. I know he does Shinra, but I'm pretty sure, like, last time I checked, Asta was the first character, like, his first, like, job in voice acting. Because with Black Clover, funny enough, like, I guess they didn't think it was going to do well as a manga. It did well. And then they got an anime. They didn't think it was really going to do well. And look how great it is. And they hired some, fresh out of voice acting guy. And now he's playing a character that it's top 5 for Tokyo TV's profitable and grossing anime in the last 2 years. I think almost 3 years now. And, it's really big in other countries. It's only growing. I know a lot of people picked up Black Clover in the last week after seeing that Fire anime opening. I love that. Oh my god, it's such a good opening. Have you seen Promised Neverland anime? I haven't. I'm still halfway in the manga. I'll get caught up eventually. Probably when it's over. It's going to change for One Piece. What's going to change for One Piece? I wonder what Yami is going to look like after the time skip. I don't know. I would like to. So one thing I'm really hoping. I'm hoping he like gets Mana Zone under control because that's logically the next thing for him. Is just Mana Zone. He doesn't have to have a whole lot of. He doesn't have to have a whole lot of new spells. Mana Zone alone would really like improve what he's got because doing like lightless slashes in general from multiple directions would be really good, and then obviously Dimension Slash from multiple directions would be fantastic. Maybe he can do consecutive Dimension Slashes, like maybe he can do like 3 and it's not just 1 because we've seen Dimension Slash. You see like him swing it, you can see all the veins popping out. It takes him a lot of strength in order to do that one swing. Maybe he'll be able to do the one swing and then bring it around for like a cross slash, maybe another back one. That would be really cool. Maybe it'd be like Dimension Slash, I don't know, just like Storm. Like his, he's got his Lightless Slash Storm or, something. Maybe just something to kind of like relate to, like the whole theme for his powers. Or maybe it'll have something to do with like Bulls since, he's the leader of the Black Bulls. Something down that line. It's as long as it's not something too crazy because one of the things about the captains, one of the things about Black Clover I really like that I think they did better than Bleach, and again I like Bleach, but the fact that like in Bleach you had all these like hundreds-year-old Soul Reapers that suddenly like over the course of months time like became like multiple times more powerful. It's like, so you're telling me is what you guys were lazy for the last 100 years or something? Why are you suddenly like really working hard enough that you get such a big boost? Whereas Black Clover is like, oh yeah, a lot of them are still growing. Like a lot of these characters are still getting more powerful, as the story goes. Like Yami got he got Dimension Slash back in the Water Temple, and it was just that experience that unlocked a new spell for him. So it's just good. I really like that aspect about Black Clover. I thought that was really smart to do early on. It just makes sense to me. Black Clover movie, let's hope. I'm curious to know what the movie would be about because one, I would if they did a movie, I'd hope it's canon. I don't think they could make it canon right now because like where would it fit? It could fit in the 6 months, but then the question is like, what are they gonna do? I mean, they could easily have some adventure in the Heart Kingdom that led to it, like maybe just some big bad guy happened over there. Maybe one of the Spade generals made an attack before everything else during that, and I don't know. There's something that you could really make out of that would really hold. The question is just what would it? Unless it's not canon, then they can do anything they want. I would like it to be canon just because I like when they do good movies. I enjoy it when it's not just like a good movie when it ties into the story. That was one of the things I thought was cool. Well, about both My Hero Academia movies, both fairy tale movies, and does irk me about like One Piece, especially the last one because it had the guy Bullet, who was like an important character, and then had stuff to do with had to do with like fighting One Piece and stuff, and it's like, why are you giving away important information in something that's not canon? Because at the same time, you can look at it and say, oh yeah, that's really cool, but it's like, well then what does this matter for the story? Because this isn't canon to the story. It'd be as much as like giving us information like in a tweet. It'd be like, that doesn't help us that much. It's cool, but come on, man. Make them canon so it matters. Black Clover could use a break like most anime through so I don't think they're going to really do much of a break because Black Clover is very profitable for Tokyo TV. And it's shown even when doing like normal stuff, normal animation doesn't need the hype stuff that it can, be very popular and very grossing. So I'm betting that they're going to do like an anime only arc, like, could call it filler. Maybe it's an anime only that's canon. Like they could easily do something with the 6 month time skip and use that to show like some of the Heart Kingdom characters. Maybe you see more of this world. And it would be cool that if they made it canon and then they did some exploration in the Heart Kingdom, maybe went to a dungeon or two, maybe learn some just some real aspects about magic through true magic and stuff. Because it would also add to world building, which I think is fantastic. That is one of the things I really love about the fairy tale spin-offs. Is not only does it focus on characters not in the main cast, but also opens up a lot of new areas in the world. Shows new environments, shows new like towns and stuff. Shows like big bad guys that wouldn't be threats to the main characters, but would be to these guys. In their set, like when Sting and Rogue went and fought again. Oh my God, what were those guys? I don't remember what that guild was called, but they fought it. It was the first guys they fought in their spinoff. Another guild that like stole some like war machine that could like destroy entire towns with its cannons. Like, so that wouldn't be much of a threat to like the main cast, but it is to these guys. So it was cool to see like them get their own spotlight. But also it's like, oh cool, more stuff. This apparent war machine adds to some of the stuff in the series. You're seeing more towns and whatnot. I like that. I'm hoping that they do that with the Black Clover anime. Because it'd be really neat if Tabata's like, oh yeah, I'm adding these things in there. Because it would be easy for him just to describe some places, just draw a picture, and then say, all right, you guys do these things. And then they could work on it. I mean, it's not like the Black Clover animation team is definitely not incompetent. They're definitely very skilled. So we can see a lot of really nice things come out of it. You can get a lot of cool stuff out of an anime-only arc. Especially one thing that I really like about not just anime-only stuff. Like one of the things is like the novels. Like, when they did the adaptation of the novel, like introducing Fonzel, because one of the things about Fonzel, if you didn't watch the anime, is he showed up in the manga, and it was like, oh yeah, we already like Asta already knew him, and he already is like, oh yeah, these things happened, and it's because there's a novel that he's introduced in that's canon that they have in Japan, but people over like outside of Japan really didn't get. So it was cool to see that adapted into the manga, so you got to actually learn about these things. And with an anime-only arc, not only are the people that are anime-onlys, going in blind, but the manga readers that are watching the anime will also not know what's going on. So instead of being like, oh yeah, I'm hyped up to see this new thing that's coming. I know it's coming, but I want to see it animated. Where instead it'll be like, oh sweet, not only do I not know what's coming up in the manga, but I also don't know what's coming up in the anime because they're in the anime-only part. And as long as it's fun, it doesn't have to be a masterpiece one. Like again, just a dungeon exploration like little arc, like 5, 10 episodes. They go into a dungeon, they fight some bad guys and some traps. Maybe they fight a giant monster that's protecting the treasure. That'd be really fun. I'd love that. Like, would anybody like think about that? And it's just like, I don't like that idea. It's like, no, it's just it's a basic, refreshing thing that would give them time to get separated from where the manga's at, and it would just give some nice world building, and you could have a lot of like fun character interactions too. Plus, dungeons are cool. I mean, really, dungeons are as badass. We have seen Magical Beasts in Black Clover, the Boars, Asta, Magna, Noah hunted early. Yeah, but that was that's anime only. I mean, really, like thinking of canon, magic monsters. There was the lava monster when they went to that volcanic range. But like even if you counted those little boars, it's like that's still like nothing. Like Black Clover is over almost 250 chapters in a magic fantasy series. You haven't seen a lot of magic monsters. You could easily just bring in. You could make your own, or you could have stuff like a golem. Oh, it's a manticore. It's a griffin. Stuff like that where you can really bring that. Also, on a side note, like that'd be a really cool thing to maybe like have a duo between Nozel and Fuego Leon. Maybe have like a griffin. That'd be sick. Anyway, yeah, more monsters would be cool. Where would you rank Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains in your Yu-Gi-Oh! Tier? Kind of hard. I definitely like the first 3 series more than the second half than the other 3. But I would say I'd kind of like put it like kind of tied with Arc 5. I need to rewatch Arc 5. I don't like it as much as the first 3. I do love Soul Burner. I thought Soul Burner was really cool. I like Eye as a villain. But it was too short, and I don't know. Some of the as much as I like Playmaker, I'm not a huge fan of him. I thought he was cool, but like my primary love in when it came to Vrains was Soul Burner and then Revolver. I don't know, maybe kind of like fourth, kind of like maybe around fourth, kind of back and forth with Arc 5. I would say. Like I said, just imagine Noelle as a Dragon Slayer. Wendy was originally supposed to be a Water Dragon Slayer before she became a Sky Dragon. Noelle would definitely get some cool moves. I mean, especially like she's already got some Sea Dragon skills. I prefer a break to Black Clover after time skip. I mean, it'd be cool to do that. I don't think they will. I think they'll just be a little bit more relaxed. Maybe do some fun filler stuff, like some what if stuff. Like you remember, like Bleach, they have like the Halloween kind of like one. There's like the Aladdin kind of like episode, stuff like that. Maybe some goofy like more episodes. Maybe some just like adventure ones. I don't think they're gonna do a much of a break because again, it's a very profitable for them. I mean, they could, but I'm not too sure. Like there it is. What do you mean? True Black Clover need to slow down. I mean, yeah, they're catching up, but the question is what is their plan? We don't know exactly what their plan is after that. When Quinella offers you sex Rohan refuse. I don't know JoJo. I know Rohan's a JoJo character though. I don't like 100% form. I wish we got the buff at 100%. What do you mean? I don't know what you mean by that. Darling of Franks is complete trash. I don't know anything about it, so I can't say. No buff form Deku. I mean, he's gonna get buff. He's gonna be a big dude. You already know that. He's gonna be like All Might. Yoshihara is the same grace as Black Clover. I mean, for the anime, not for the manga. I mean, the manga's Tabata. I mean, Yoshihara is definitely like anime Black Clover anime Pope. What are some double standards in anime community that annoy you? So here's one thing. So this is an easy one for me. This is a really, really easy one for me. And again, because I've said, series will always get compared to each other. Series always get compared to each other. And for me, I'm a big fan of Fairy Tail. It always gets compared to One Piece. One thing about the Fairy Tail community, not community, as the take, is when people talked about Urza like she was unbeatable. Like, oh, nobody beats Urza. She never loses. Urza has actually quite come out, like, close to as many losses as she does wins. And it happens a lot of time I've seen from, like, One Piece fans, and Zoro has not lost many fights in the time skip. He's really ran through most characters that he's fought. So it's like, I don't really see it could kind of be like, oh, it's dumb that she doesn't lose a lot. Zoro doesn't lose a lot. And, like, he's not just beating people, he's mauled almost everybody in the time skip. And not only that, like, he's beaten most people, and the second one, it's like, oh, well, he's in some dangerous areas where, they're in Kaido's territory now. He gets a new sword, so he gets power-up blade. He's going to be even stronger. It's weird to me. Like, he casually tore through Pika, like, literally like a walking mountain. But, like, Urza, breaks past her limits, puts everything in just to destroy Irene's meteor that doesn't look like it took any effort for her to summon. And I don't know, people give her shit about that. I don't like that. I always got annoyed by that. I wonder if this arc, exits from Black Clover because he might have to go to the Spade Kingdom to rule it. I mean, he's definitely not going to leave to rule it. I mean, for one, the Spade Kingdom is not going to be that short. This is going to be a big arc. I consider it like a saga. It's probably going to be multiple smaller arcs that really kind of combine into the Spade War. And I don't really see why Yuna would leave. It'd be really weird if he just ditches and he's like, "Well, I'm gonna go over here now." Like, what, is Austin gonna lose his rival? I don't know. I really don't see it. I really don't see it kind of like going that way. I mean, it's questionable. I mean, maybe they just combine it into the Clover Kingdom's territory. Maybe after the fact that they are allied with the Heart Kingdom, they take over the Spade Kingdom, and the Diamond Kingdom, maybe Mars becomes in control, and then they become like a unified nation. And then we start expanding outside of there. Because if you look at the map, the Spade Kingdom connects to to another landmass. We only know this one continent in Black Clover. So like once they become like a big nation, maybe like when we can get into more bigger threats, like maybe more devils out there in the world, maybe more bad guys. Because we know there's more in the Black Clover world, we just don't know what. Guilty pleasure anime? I don't know, probably a lot of lewd ones like Monster Musume or something. A lot of more kind of just like fan service series that are just, it's not like, oh, it's a battle series that has fan service like Mach and Key. Not the anime is just fan service. The manga has lots of fan service, but actually has pretty good action. I like the characters and the story. But like Monster Musume is just Monster Girl titties. But anyway, what's the names of the Dark Trad? I told you, Zeno, Vanica, and Dante. It's not talking to me. Eden Zero needs an anime machine to say something big. Oh, he said a bunch of surprise announcements were coming in 2020, so I'm stoked. I think the Eden Zero anime announcement is the most likely thing, but he said there's going to be more surprises. So again, I've mentioned one, I'm hoping that Eden Zero gets a good anime adaptation. Two, if they want to do a 100 Years Quest anime, if they don't give it to a good studio, I don't want them to do it. I don't want to see another anime butchery of the fairy tale scenes and art. There were some good scenes in the Albrecht arc, but there are a lot of like not very good looking parts. Like they get more still frames. They didn't even have like when Laxus beat Wall, it was just a still frame. They didn't really do anything really cool with that. They didn't enhance the fight. It's just like, come on, man, give the dude something. Dude has, like Laxus didn't get like a real battle for a long time. Like even if like you can't count like Tempesta, like he ran through Tempesta pretty quick. Going into the Tartarus arc, and then before that it was his fight with Jura, which was mostly off panel. So it's like, Laxus hasn't got a real good fight in a long time. Like he just got a good one. He just got a really good one against Urza. But like at the point where like his fight against Wall, that was a good fight. I really wish they extended it out and maybe just gave him like a couple more scenes. Maybe gave each of them a couple more abilities thrown in there. Like Wall especially, Wall's not getting extended out kind of parts really confused me because his whole ability set, it's easy to do. He's about like, he's mainly got, his magic is like, analysis, adaptation through machinery and stuff. But like a lot of it's like weapons. You give him like a giant machine gun on like turret on his arm, or maybe like a couple missiles, like not just the small ones. Maybe give him like a big ass missile. Maybe add in some like photon cannon. Just a lot of cool tech weapons. It should have been easy, but I don't know, stuff like that made me a little sad. So I'm hoping if they decide to do a 100 Years Quest anime, they give it to a good studio. Because also, it has to be seasonal. They can't do weekly. It'll get caught up in a year. It'll get caught up within a year, and it'll be like, what are you guys going to do? Seasonal, though, they can just do, each year they get one dragon god. Because logically, even if you say like each of the dragon god kind of like parts is 26 chapters or so, because it's every 2 weeks, 52 weeks a year, 26 chapters logically a year, especially when on times where maybe we'll get more than 10 chapters, or maybe it'll go back to weekly at some point for a couple chapters or something. But you can say that, and then it's like, oh, well, you're getting 12 or so, 12 episodes a year. You're adapting those 26 chapters into 12 episodes, and it's just each dragon god part gets its own seasonal arc. Easy. You do the water dragon god, and then it's like a year later, okay, you do all different stuff, and this way the manga can also keep ahead. They can have time to really kind of do it without rushing out animation quality, and they can also give it to a good studio. Like give it to like Studio David or someone, like please.
None of that like Clover Works A1 shit, please. They do not treat Fairy Tail well, and it makes me sad. I'm ready for them to put Log Horizon season 3 out. I've watched the first season. I didn't even know the second season. Maybe I'll have to catch up. Looking forward to more Fire Force. When I know they just announced season 2, so that's good. What's the isekai anime about? It's so the basic premise. I have to look it up. It's like normal kind of like dude dies, but he's like a huge NEET. He doesn't go outside. His like I think like his parents die, and then his family like hates him, so they kind of like kick him out of his house. And then like he saves somebody that wasn't paying attention. They were gonna get hit by a truck, and then he dies, and then he gets isekai, and the whole kind of like premise. But he has like a lot of like trauma about that, and like a lot of fear about like leaving his house because of it. So he's got it's got a lot more lasting effects. The fact he died, and it's like yeah, that's gonna do some stuff, but also the way that he was treated. He's actually because one of the things about isekais also it's like the main characters always end up broken. He doesn't have like oh, I have this broken power. It's more that he remembers his life before that makes him strong because he played video games and stuff and he knows about science, so he's able to use like that knowledge to kind of like understand how to do stuff. Like just this one part where he has like a teacher that teaches him magic and she's like, "Oh, you have to make a rain cloud and it has to rain for this long." And he like knows how weather works, so he's able to make it using like his knowledge of weather, so it'll like cycle through and continuously do it. And it's instead of like, "Oh, draining magic for this long," it's like, "No, I did it." So it's an endless cycle. It won't stop until I cancel it out, which is cool. I like that idea. It's like Rudy something, and then I can't remember what it was called off the top of my head, but the main character's name was like Rudy, and he's like training to be like a magic swordsman, which is cool. I like that. I think magic swordsman's really cool too. On top of that, I like the premise. I like the main character. I'm not caught up, but I am gonna watch the anime. So that's one of those like manga. I'm kind of like I kind of want to wait to watch the anime. And I don't know. I think it's got official releases right now, so maybe I'll buy some of the manga volumes when it starts to get more popular. I don't know. It's one of those ones that I like, but I'm not caught up on, and it's not like I need to catch up on it. Maybe when the anime comes out, I'll just kind of go with that, as to not get spoiled by other people when it gets to the point that I'm not at like Shield Hero. Right? Yeah. Just I know what one you're talking about. Yeah. Orient and Magi. I like Orient. I'm really hoping Orient gets an official release soon. I really like that series. I think is interesting. I liked Magi at the start. I didn't like kind of what it became. I know some people did, but I just didn't really like that it was so different than what what captured me about the series. I really like the whole like desert sands, like Aladdin, style like dungeons, and that kind of like Middle Eastern magic stuff with like genies and stuff. I thought that was really cool. It stood out because again, I like magic. Generally, magic is like more Western fantasy, or like Kirimashima's where it's like just a mix of everything kind of fantasy. But I was like, oh, cool. It's like it's gonna like fit in the style. And then they became like the future and Jetsons, and there was like gods and weird philosophical stuff. And I'm like, that's neat. That's I mean, if this was the way that it started out, then I'd be cool. It just has such a weird shift. It doesn't feel like the same series. I'll finish it one day, but I'm like, eh. Orient though starts out really really weird, so I'm definitely going to check that out when if it gets an anime. And I like the fact that it kind of like gets its much weirder premise like out of the way. Like it's like oh swords and god monsters and like that they have motorcycles even though it's kind of like feudal-ish. I like that they get a lot of like weird concepts out of the way. Like they call the motorcycles horses, which I thought was funny, but also cool. Yeah, is that what it is? The one of the main characters' name is Rudy Jobless Reincarnation or something. I like OP powers when they go against other OP powers. I just don't like a lot of the isekais where the main characters are so unfairly broken. I get it's like Overlord. That's the premise. The idea is this guy has end series gear for like a big MMORPG, so it's understandable. But it's more taking place from like a raid boss's perspective, and you do all these like end game level characters against generally for the most part characters in the world are run some random guy that's like oh cool you have potential but you're going at something absurdly out of your league. I get that that's the premise and I think it's cool, but I don't like the way that it's paced because we're like volume like season 3 and none of the characters have been really challenged, so it's kind of like I get the idea and it's neat, but I want to see the characters actually have something to overcome and struggle. It's fun, but it doesn't get me hyped. I like the designs. I think the designs are really cool. Again, I like the premise that it's like from a boss character's perspective, but I'm just like, there's not really any stakes at the moment. I know there's characters that exist in the world that are supposedly like a challenge, but I don't think they've faced them yet. I think the novels are way more ahead. I'm not too sure. I've only got to like season 3 of it, but at the same time, again, I get why people like it. I'm not that invested in it when it comes to like stuff like that. That slime anime, I know like the guy becomes super OP super quick. That's not what I like about the idea of an isekai. I like the idea that a character. So here's one that I think is a good example. If you've ever read or watched what is it? March and Awakens Romance. Main character, he's like a huge nerd. He's got like he's a typical nerd guy, and the whole premise, he gets summoned over to this world because his dad was like the hero before him, and so he gets summoned up to kind of like in the next time they need him, and in their world, gravity is a lot weaker, so his body is like a lot. So for him, his body is lighter, his muscles are stronger than a lot of the people there, and he's able to run really fast because of it. So for the most part, his his idea of oh yeah, what is your OP thing? It's the fact he's got like a stronger just body in general, but also he's got a lot more enthusiasm because in his mind, like all this stuff is like really like what he's always dreamed about. So he's just got the energy really and the excitement to get into things, and he's also got a really good imagination because they have like these items that you put into the weapons. And it's like, oh yeah, think of what this power is, which is kind of broken when you kind of like get behind the idea. It's like, oh yeah, you think of what this is. So he's able to come up with some pretty neat abilities. I like that idea for a isekai because in the idea, the cool thing about an isekai is a lot of people that watch these series they think, oh man, I love this. I wonder it'd be like if I lived in one of these worlds. And so that's why isekais are so alluring because that's the idea essentially of it. These characters, they get born in these fantasy worlds that they love, but the idea is you get there, you become super OP super quick. I'm just like, well, that's not what I want. I want like that's not what my interest is. I want to see like this guy who they've always like again like the main character he loves fantasy stuff. He gets like summoned to this fantasy world. So that's exactly like what I would want. So I can get why people would want like that really OP one. And then there's comedy ones, but it generally like when isekais are like that, and it's just like not only does it not interest me a whole lot, it's pretty much the same. But I'm just like, where's the hype? What am I getting invested in about the character if they're gonna start out just unfairly strong? Deku character analysis. I don't know enough about Deku to really personally. I think I could do a good analysis on him. You have to go to like my friend Kid Otaku. He's a big Deku guy. Like I could look like I think a lot of people could look at Natsu and not really get him and just kind of like basically understand him. I've done analysis of his character. I can do like a lot of comparisons, a lot of scenes that really kind of you probably don't think about it first or really like what affects him from beginning to where he's at now. He can do that with Deku. I can't do that with Deku. I can't say it's not because I like Deku enough. I'm not as interested in in Deku as a character as he is. So if you really want some Deku, go to that guy. He's really cool too. Last anime I think I got popular wasn't of any of those genres. Goblin Slayer. Goblin Slayer is really neat. Goblin Slayer is an isekai. It's more of like it's one thing. The thing I liked about Goblin Slayer is the whole idea that it's like all the people that would fight goblins either get too cocky or too weak and die, or the people get too strong and they're like, I'm not dealing with goblins. That's below me. So that's what you do in a video game. Like think of playing a video game. You're like once you get powerful, you're just like I don't want to deal with these like low level guys. I'm either gonna one shot them or just ignore them and continue onward. So they don't bother me. But in the idea of the world, characters doing that, it's like these things are still gonna go out and kill people and still do all this stuff. So that's what I like about the Goblin Slayer. He's dedicated to this idea. He's like fantasy Spider-Man, where Spider-Man is always trying to help the little guy. He's more of like in the street superhero a lot of the time than a lot of big world saving. So that's kind of like where the Goblin Slayer is. He's like, I'm taking care of these guys. People ignore them. That whatever. This is my dedication. I want them eradicated. That's what I really like about the Goblin Slayer person. Also, everything that he ends up finding, he's like, can I weaponize this against goblins? That's just, I always love that trait against him. Hey, ice cream, how'd you make this cold? Oh, we did these things. I wonder if I can use this to kill goblins. It's like, God damn it, man. You're crazy. Okay, because my friend reads that manga, so I'll let him know when it's out. Also check it out myself. Well, that's good. Mob Psycho is awesome. It's from author the creator of One Punch Man. Yeah, it looks really good. I don't know. I procrastinated. Deku's developed as a character. I'm happy when he can control Black Whip. I wonder what his next power is. It says the whole. I'm not a huge fan of the idea of Deku getting all these powers. I wish it was like his body has these in him. He can't control it, and he can give them to other people, which I think would be really cool because it would also be like an easy way to power up the other characters because what just the strength one by itself we've seen like what All Might is capable of, is like drastically above like other top heroes. So Deku could have that and keep developing as keep developing that martial art styles, use it in various ways. And it'd be cool to like give powers to other characters. I don't know. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of him getting all these powers, but I'm sure Horikoshi has a plan. So I can't speak from like that sense because he knows certain aspects that are coming in the future. So I can't really speak on that aspect. I can give my personal opinion. But the Black Whip is cool. I like that he's just kind of using it for grappling and stuff. I laugh because it kind of like takes away the only thing that Ochaka could really do is like, oh yeah, you could do cool support stuff for Deku for give him helpful and like lower gravity around him to give him helpful movement speed, make it so he's pretty much good on fall damage. But it's like he doesn't need that. He's got Black Whip now, so I mean like she can't really aid him. So she's better. She's either gonna get real good real fast or have nothing. Deku's a hypocritical. What is he hypocritical about? I don't know. I thought it was the guy. I thought I was never the guy stronger arms and you got into Neverland. Wait, what? I thought I was the guy that stronger arms you to get into Neverland. Listen, you can super chat. So there's either super chat essentially, or like when I set up the Patreon, maybe. I'm thinking of doing something like that. Maybe like because I don't expect to have a lot of tiers. I don't want to have like $50 tier. I think it'd be like $1 of just like generosity, maybe like $2 or $3 as like, hey, watch, maybe we'll come and do anime stuff, and then maybe like, oh, $5, you can tell me to get me to read a series, and I'll do a read through on like Twitter or something, or maybe do like a video talking about it, maybe even add it to my general weekly reviews. But other than that, like it's only because I need to figure out some ways to get the nice side cash. Not a forcing, but only voluntarily, because that's what I want. I don't want the idea of like pressuring, subscribers and followers, people I know that watch my videos. I don't want to ever pressure people into ever donating. I don't want that to ever be the case. I don't want to ever be one of those guys where it's like, I've seen like, I've seen female streamers. It's just like, I'm not going to do that unless I get this amount of money in this amount of time. I don't ever want to be like that. I never want to get to that point. I never want to have to be like those guys that just treat the subscriber people as just dollar signs. I never want that to happen. I can't. It's not like I can know everybody. It's not like I can just get remember every single person that subscribes or comments on the video. But even if I don't know somebody, I never want to have that kind of idea of like, oh, that's just another dollar video or whatever person donating. I want to always at least have that genuine appreciation of anybody who's like, you know what, I think you deserve, a dollar or whatever, or even just watching my videos in general. I never want to get into that spot to ever pressure anybody into thinking that they owe me. I never want to get to that spot. It's always, in my opinion, generosity. I'm already like very grateful that people watch my videos in general. Like right now, 23 people on my stream. I'm grateful that people are there, and if they want to ever donate any money to me, I'd be happy with that. If they don't, that's their decision. I'm just happy you guys are here and you're chatting with me, and we're having a good conversation. Again, I don't know. I don't think Deku's a hypocritical character. I don't really know. I get that idea where he can be like, oh well, he said he was going to be a hero with even without a power, but then he got a power. But other than that, it's like, like I don't really know where he's hypocritical. I mean, unless you have a spot that I don't know about, you can bring up. I don't know. I think Deku's fine. I'm not a huge fan of him, but I don't dislike him. No offense, My Hero Academia shouldn't have won, and I get like the popularity. I don't know. When it comes to anime of the decade, I can kind of see like the idea of like how big it's gotten like over in America. I mean, there's been a lot of people that got like more into anime over it, and so I can kind of like see that. I don't think it was the best series of the decade, but I can't. It's not like I can look right there and be like, this was the best series. I would have to look at everything in the past decade and really kind of like gauge what it is. I don't know. In terms of like big boom popularity, I guess, but whatever. I'm not a huge fan of like the idea of like this is the best of the decade because people voted for it. It's like no, that just means the most people like voted for it. It doesn't mean that it is like I think it's subjective of what you like, not what just like some group minded mentality is. My brother asked me for spoilers regarding what happens with the quirks of previous users. I told him and said people were mad that he said that it was complete sense given that it made complete sense given. So it makes sense. I like legit. It makes sense. It was set up for Deku to have like all these other quirks from previous users, which is understandable because they pass through into them. It's this power that goes pass from person to person, evolve, and then get stronger and go to another person. Makes sense. I'm just not a huge fan of the idea of Deku having all these powers because he was already really powerful with just the strength version, and like it's not like he was falling behind, and this is something that really helped him get forward. Like he's already really powerful. He's better than most of the pro heroes. So I'm just like, does he really need it? Is it really gonna be like maybe if they're all like just support powers that really just kind of like buff all one for all like that, like kind of like how he's using Black Whip to kind of like grapple and whip something, pull it in for him to attack and stuff like that. I can kind of get. I'm just hoping that there's nothing that's like straight like alters his style into a new form. Like in Black Whip, it seems so far to just be an enhancement to his his fighting style. It would be like if Asta got it's like oh yeah he can develop his ways into like oh I can like getting black form or like learning how to fly. If he just got like a magic that was like an entirely different style, one magic in general would bother me if Asta got it. But like if he got like an anti magic bow and arrow or like maybe something like that, I'd be like I don't that's cool, but it's a completely different to his style. I'm not a huge fan of like stuff like that where it's unfairly an additional where it kind of because like with Asta, think about it, like with Asta, he's really powerful, but the weakness to him is that he is only melee combat. He's got elongated range with his Black Divider, but really that's just longer of a linear attack. It's useful, it's definitely powerful, but it's not break. It's not gonna break his character. It's not gonna make it so he's unfair. As long as you're ranged, as long as you're fast enough to dodge it, you should be fine. And I'm hoping that stays the way with Deku because it's the multiple powers that kind of makes me go, that is a little bit kind of like it could make him too over everybody else. Because with the full power of One for All already, he was going to be the strongest out of his crew. It's like he's got all these other ones. Like it's like Jesus, how much are you going to like? Again, I know that he's going to become the strongest character. He's the main character. It's understandable. But, like, I don't want to... I just worry about him ever becoming to a degree where the other characters don't matter. Kind of like in Dragon Ball. Like, really? Do you need to have someone like Krillin there when Goku exists? It's like, cool. Krillin's been here since the start, and people like him. But does it matter? Like, anybody that's a struggle for him, Goku should be fine going up and just, like, flicking and they're over. I don't want that to happen with Deku. And another comparison is what Digimon Frontier, where the main character is rival. It's like you have to activate those. What are the most powerful? Was it Emperor Greymon? I don't remember what it was. It was the super versions of their main forms where they had to have half of the spirits total, where it was like I think 5 of each. And then so the other main characters, like the rest of the cast, couldn't go into their Digi-Evolution forms, and they had to pretty much just stand there because the main character and his rival needed their power to reach these forms. So it's like you guys aren't going to get to do anything for the rest of the show, that until they unlock Susanomon, which is still like at least you got to be involved at end of series, the last battle, but up until then it's like you guys didn't get to do shit that mattered. But yeah. Promised Neverland's awesome, but man, it's been crazy in the current chapters. How many chapters is left? I know they're like in that last kind of stretch. 2 words for battle and neons are supposed to be merged. Oh, wait, what? 2 words for battle? Oh, battle neon? Is it just 1 word? Or like we're gonna see a clone of All Might, but is his teen self? Again, that'd be cool. I want to see some clones. I want to see some like Clue clones in My Hero. Maybe that's gonna be something for the future. I mean, but then it's like, well, then how is he gonna have the quirk? I mean, they could try and like combine a bunch of characters in the quirk because Nobu was essentially supposed to be like the anti. Well, he's supposed to be like a weapon used to fight My Hero or All Might, because All Might, as the name, and then Nomu means no minds, and then it's literally just a big buff guy who's like shock resistant. He can take blunt force damage. So it was literally supposed to be a weapon made to fight All Might. So they would just need some like super buffed version of that first Nomu. Yeah, I think it. I think My Hero won some like big Crunchyroll award. Again, I'm just like, whatever. I don't really care if it won anything. I don't agree. How about for best girl, La Brava? La Brava in the next in a couple episodes will be really cool. Again, I'm hyped for Gentle Lady's awesome. It's supposed to be the symbol of hard work, but its quirk is I mean, yeah, that's the thing. So that was one of the things that I do agree on. It's like Deku, so I get he worked hard after he got that quirk, but like he had to be given this power for him to really work hard. I like the idea again. If instead he was more of like a tech character that used his analytical skills, and it was like because he was a big fanboy of all these characters and stuff, and he watched all these YouTube videos and he read all these blogs and whatnot about these characters, that he just knew them, and then he figured out how they worked just by watching them, and then it was more of like him using his knowledge and his mind to like be a hero, and using tech. But I'm all right with where he's at. I mean, it's obviously working for him. It's working for this series, so it's like that's fine. What I would have preferred is it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's successful for the fan base, it's successful for Horikoshi, and it's working for his story because it is his story. It's not me saying, hey, you do this. This is what he wants to do, and it's obviously successful for him. So I'm glad. I think Natsu could throw hands with Saiyan Saga Vegeta. Was Saiyan's? I don't think he could blow up. What could he blow up the planet at that point? I think he could because like Dragon Ball, especially at that point, all their big attacks were just energy attacks. So Natsu should be able to burn them. He should be able to burn them up because they're obviously strong physically. But I don't remember, especially at that point, I don't remember any Dragon Ball feats that were like just physical strengths that were impressive. And I don't remember like they don't really have hacks. They don't have a resistance to hacks. So like Natsu's Savage Dragon Fire should kill him. That's before like Dragon Ball starts to get really ridiculous. It wasn't until I remember there was like I think some hype because I think that scene where they go to that bug plant and Frieza just points at it and blows, or not Frieza, Vegeta just blows it up. I think, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's anime filler. I don't think that's canon. I'd have to go back and look, but I don't think that actually happened in canon. Correct me though if I'm wrong. I mean, obviously, if he can casually blow up a planet, then it's not like Natsu can really contend with that yet. Um, Neo is best cosplayer. Oh, we're talking about in Ruby. I think there's supposed to be an episode. I haven't watched the new one. So I'll watch it and do a review after this stream. Honestly, when Isabella was supposed to be crushed by that rock, it was funny as Isabella. I'm trying to think off the top. Who do you mean? I don't know who you mean by this. I'm doing Rex. Not sick anymore. Oh, that's good. I'm glad you're doing good. Yeah, I like dragons as well. Where do I read what? They talking about that one of that dude named Rudy? I don't know. I have to look up what series it is. Would be his best One Piece arc. Wait, what? LPB. I don't know what you mean by that. Is it Eni's Lobby? I'm confused. So only Mars and Ladros Morris are left in the. So I think it's Mars, Ladros. I think Morris was taken. My guess is Morris was taken, or he's still. That's a question. But also, if you go back and look at the whole part when they show like the Shining Generals, the one that's the only one that was silhouetted and not shown his face, I think he's alive too. Is it would be no point of having that guy be a mystery if he wasn't the strongest, but also it would be kind of pointless to have him hyped up and then not used at all if you just kill him off. He obviously was supposed to be extra special. Black Clover rarely does 1v1s. Well, yeah, because a lot of the spots, like the main cast, it was more, they weren't strong enough to do it. I think we're going to be moving into spots where characters can 1v1. Like, I think Asta will probably get some 1v1 fights in this first arc. I can see some more 1v1 battles coming up, especially because like now, like beforehand, like for the most part, Asta was strong, but he needed his black form to really beat any like considerable bad guys. But now he can do it pretty easily, and so like when you get any characters really of value, he should be able to beat them now. Have I looked at a Fire Force? Yes, so I'm caught up on the manga. I want to do reviews for it, but I want to reread the series because there's some stuff I probably don't remember because for a while Fire Force was super, super inconsistent with translations. They don't have a simul release yet, which makes me sad. But fan translations, they have a consistent fan translation right now, and they do have volume releases. So I'm thinking about maybe rereading it through volumes, like the official release volumes, and then and then getting reviewing them like normal. I'll probably actually reread it and then like later just like buy the volumes in bulk. Maybe when there's a sale like Barnes and Nobles, like they usually do like a 2-for-1 sale. Or I think actually it's usually buy two get one three or buy two get one half off or something. But maybe then catch up on Fire Force or well on physical forms. I have a couple. I think I have like 3 volumes of Fire Force right now. But I am caught up on the manga. I do want to reread it and then get back to doing chapter reviews because I do enjoy it. Yeah, Benny Morrow is best captain. So that's the problem. Right now, I remember him. I don't remember a whole lot. I know Burns. I remember the old bald guy that's like a BDSM dude who likes being hit. And then there's Hibana. I don't remember a lot of captains. See, that's one of and then there's the bald guy that I think he like hangs from the ceiling a lot to think or something. I'm trying to remember. That's the problem. See what like stuff like that. If like that bald guy is name dropped, I wouldn't remember. So it'd be like, I'm not doing a very good job as a reviewer to know what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna reread it. I've been planning it for a while. I've been getting caught up on other stuff, and I will get to it. But I'm a little bit lazy sometimes. I've been wondering how strong Foglio and Ozeliami were and Jack after 6 months. That too. I'm stoked. I'm hoping not ridiculously strong because again, the Dark Triad needs to stay powerful. Each of them needs to be a big group fight. I don't think any of them should be beaten 1v1. Orihime's boobs. Orihime is a really good support character. She is absolutely a really good support character. Do you think the other two of the Dark Triad are stronger? I think Dante might be because it looks like he's the leader, but I'm guessing otherwise. Like if that's not the fact that it's Zeno, because he's gonna be the one like primarily. It looks like the spotlight. He's gonna be the main one. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's the strongest. I'm guessing Dante is the strongest. He seems like he'd be the strongest. Plus Dante, I'm guessing maybe his name that because of like Dante's Inferno or something. That's over 10 episodes of Fire Force. It's on a generic show with good animation. No, so you gotta get further in. A lot of early shonen has a very normal start. They want to get all their basic stuff out of the way, like character introductions. They want to get you used to like the power system. They want to get you introduced to the world. It's after that point where really stuff starts out. Black Clover started to really pick up at the dungeon arc, and then I think where it really hit its stride was the whole cave part when all the children were taken, and then you had like the third eye and the captain showed up. Yami got the really sick fight against quote unquote Lick was actually Patri. You gotta get through the starting point. Like again, I know you like Promise Neverland, but Promise Neverland's point was it didn't want to do that. It's not a battle shonen, and battle shonens especially start out very similar. There's not a lot of them that break that mold because a lot of them want to play safe early on to get people invested in their series that want them to be interested. And they go with what works, and then it's after that point it really picks up. It really starts to shift. Again, not everything is going to be Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man, one of the things about it that I think makes it really popular is the author is very weird. He doesn't think like a shonen writer. He thinks like a weird seinen writer and puts it in a shonen format, which works for him, and that's one of the things that makes the series very different. Most shonens, though, are going to fit into a very, very basic kind of layout early on because they need to play safe early. The early game is it's either they get people invested or they're gonna get axed. If they do something again that's very different, and I don't want to pick on Samurai 8, it's Samurai 8 instead of it being getting all the basic stuff set up in chapter 1, like the main character getting all his goals and whatnot. It's like 12, 13, 14 chapters to get through what should be chapter 1. And to really get the story out, because Kishimoto already has a big rep. He's got Naruto and Boruto, his big powerhouse series, still getting lots of profits. Oh, startled me. Looks like did I get a new subscriber? Oh, I got a new subscriber. Pure T Savage became a new friendo, which is good. I think I'm at, what, 2298 subscribers? Yeah, one more and I'm at 2300. Thank you for subscribing, T Savage. But, yeah, so, like, again, I can get the idea, especially with Kishimoto, because if you don't know anything about Kishimoto as like who he is, he didn't want to do a shonen. He actually wanted to do a seinen. If you ever checked out his series Mario, it was supposed to be like really kind of like almost like a HBO like darker show, like but in manga format. It was like about a mafia dude named Mario who like loved money above all else. Like he was a scummy guy that'd be like willing to turn on anybody and do anything for money. But he wanted to do a very weird series. He does. I don't think he likes the idea like very general shonen format. So that's why Samurai 8 like he it takes a while to really set up everything. And when you read a lot of stuff, generally the main character gets like their goal and whatnot, and then everything kind of like established in chapter one. Like look at Eden Zero. Eden Zero is a good comparison to Samurai 8. They're both very new sci-fi series. In the first chapter, you find out about Shiki and whatnot. You find out his powers. You find about Ether Gear. You find why he's got to leave the planet. He gets that sad separation that really kind of like sets off in his goals, and they get out into space. Samurai 8, it really takes takes a big chunk, and it's not until that dark skinned samurai guy, not until he shows up that the series kind of it's like, all right, now we're getting started. Now we're gonna go out. Now we're gonna get the story really established. It takes a while, and because of that, I think Samurai 8's story is hurting in sales. Apparently, it does a lot better outside of Japan. I think Volume 1 sold really well in other countries. I think it sold really well in America. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. I've read that online. I haven't fact checked that. I think it'll do really well as an anime, but I think that's a good example. You have to give more time to stuff like especially battle shonens because they need to be careful early on. And again, an example, Kishimoto does not need to be careful early on because he's got two big profiting series for the magazine that he works for. So even though Samurai 8, I'd be willing to say, like looking at the sales, assuming that apparently it sells better outside of Japan is true. Let's just look at Japanese sales. Let's just look at Japanese sales. Assuming that it's losing money to like put it in the magazine to put out these volumes, I can guarantee that Naruto and Boruto in both the manga and anime format are making more than enough money to compensate, and they're probably fine with Samurai. That's probably why Samurai 8 hasn't been canceled. Because, one, maybe they're willing to wait because it's Kishimoto. Maybe they got more faith in him in the long run. But also, I'm willing to bet that the money that he makes for the other things that exist because of him massively overthrow the amount that he'd be losing from Samurai 8. Just put that out there. I'm looking forward to Robin Crow and Clover versus Tyrion and Ironwind versus Watts. Hoping Robin dies. I hate her character. I love Crow. I'm kind of like with Clover. I don't really care about him. I mean, it's cool that Crow has like a friend. He's got like a little bro. I'm hoping it's a bromance. I'm willing to bet there's creepy boy love porn out there, and I've been very paranoid about the Ruby writers doing weird ships for the sake of shippers instead of logical story. Again, I think that Yang and Blake becoming a couple is silly considering Sun had 2 whole volumes earning over her parents' respect and favor, and it's like, well, what was the point of that for him if she's gonna end up with Yang? It might just be paranoia. I'm worried about it because it kind of feels like they're getting shifted in that way. It's annoying to me. Again, I don't mind if a character, they do some weird shipping, whether it's, 2 characters, same gender or whatever, cross species, like someone with an alien. What I care is what makes sense. And to me, when you spend 2 volumes, like, of this character who's liked this girl since volume 1, earning over her parents' favor, it's like, oh, you're setting up for their relation. And they already have good chemistry. There's already had good character arcs over, like, between the 2 of them. So why would you throw that away? Personally, I just think that's very, very strange from a writing standpoint. And Ruby doesn't have the most consistent writing, so I don't know. Ruby is soulless. I don't think it's soulless right now. Like, all the best characters are side characters. Jean, I love Jean's character. Jean has been written fantastically. He's the most consistently written character in the series since day 1. His character has been great. Like, he started out like a normal guy amongst all these characters with superpowers and all this training. He was just a guy that wanted to, be a hero, prove himself, to live up to his family name. And, he cheated to get into this school. He started to really catch up with hard work. He faced loss, and you've seen how really much he struggled over Pyrrha. His character, he should have absolutely been the main character. And I know people like the Ruby cast, the 4 mains, because they're cute girls and whatnot. None of them even come close to Jean's character in terms of writing. Absolutely none of them. I would be willing to debate anybody that's ever watched Ruby on that. Jean is by far the best written character in the series. Salem is a really written character too, but her story, like all the best Starfighter stories, really told in one episode, and then it's over. You know, we're where she's at now. Her story is really until she loses, probably done. There's probably not going to be a lot of advancement for her. Jean is still growing. Jean is going to be a big hero. I mean, even his power is really cool. His semblance. He can amplify other people's powers, but including his own, so he can heal himself like faster. I think he's going to be like a paladin, and I really look forward to what they're doing with Jean. I really like Jean's character. Ironwood's been really good. Oscar's been really good. I think Winter's been pretty good. Crow's been unfortunately like put on the back burner, which is weird because he's like one of the most consistently badass characters. I don't know why they'd really put him off on the side. He's already had a lot of good character writing, so I don't know why they would need to kind of be like, oh, we're gonna put him on the side for, you know. I mean, really, all he's done this entire arc is be buds with Clover. He could have done that while still be making him be badass. I don't know. I don't know what their plan was with him, but I don't really like what they've been doing with him this volume, and so it makes me a little bummed. I guess Bone Magic Dark Triad member is the weakest of three. I doubt he is. I absolutely doubt he's the weakest. Personally, I think Vanica is the weakest, and not because she's a girl. I think it's between Dante and Zeno, because Zeno is obviously he's the one that shows up first. I think he's going to be the primary one that's like most active, or it's Dante because he seems to be the leader, but maybe he's just the trickiest. And Dante's probably the most like combat ready. Vanica is kind of like a mystery because she doesn't fall into either of these two spots. You know, she's probably going to be really powerful as well. Tabata's usually really good at you know making sure his female characters are just as powerful and badass as the males, especially one hyped up the Dark Triad. But I don't think she's the strongest. I think it's definitely between Dante and Zeno. But I'd be willing to bet that she's the weakest out of the three. Don't know though. Can't say until we actually see some displays of them. The War Arc was alright. War Arc for what? Wait, which arc are you talking about? Asta versus won a contest, I think. Oh, Asta's VA won a contest. That's good. Maybe like new best like rookie voice actor. I'd be willing to. I'd be curious about that. The War Arc for Dragons. What do you mean? But William isn't just a captain. He was supposed to be the next Wizard King. I mean, he was hyped up to be the next Wizard King because of like how fast the spades or the Golden Dawn was moving. He was never like displayed as being the strongest. If it came to the captains and just off of strength, obviously Mara Leota would be the best or the next spot, but she doesn't want it. She doesn't want the position. She doesn't care about she doesn't care about royalty. She doesn't care about the political side. She's just fighting and doing stuff for her country. And so we haven't seen anything from William that would say he's stronger than Fuego Leon or Nozel. I mean, they have way more impressive feats than him. Fuego Leon logically is more powerful than him. He's not only counters his magic, but he's got spirit magic on top of that, and he's gonna potentially have spirit dive if he just learns he can literally just talk to and figure out like how he did it, train on it, get it, and then spirit dive Fuego Leon. I don't think for a second what we know about William has a chance against Fuego Leon, especially spirit dive, but with that, I don't think that William stands a chance against Zeno. It would be dumb. I get people like William, and William, he's a very either love or hate him character. If he even pushed Zeno, it'd be like it would completely destroy hype for the Dark Triad, because then it would be like, well, there must not be that big of a deal if one of the captains is able to push him, because then all the captains have to do is team up, and then it's bam, they take one out, and then they go grab another one, they take them out. If it's that easy for them, then they could literally just charge on the Spade Kingdom and win. What would their threat level be? The idea is each of these Spade Kingdom like Dark Triad members are at least Wizard King level. They're at least comparable to Julius, because Julius is very powerful. He's arguably stronger than all the normal captains combined, and that's why they're not going to fight the Spade Kingdom. The Spade Kingdom should be much stronger than the Clover Kingdom. And the Clover Kingdom needs to become stronger. It needs to get more tactical. It needs to get more ready in order to fight them. If they're already strong enough to fight them, then there's no threat level. It's just of when are they going to actually fight. They need to be pushed, and it needs to be... this Dark Triad have to be a big threat. There'd be no point in them being really trouble if it's so easy for just William to push one to a degree. Zeno should run through him. Zeno should absolutely run through him.
Like, I think the Dark Disciples should be around normal captain level. I think that the Dark Triad each are going to be Wizard King level, and I think Magicula is going to be stronger than the Word Double. I think that is obvious. I think it would completely destroy any hype for the Spade Kingdom as being the big threatening force that they're supposed to be if William is able to push him. One of my friends recently, to be believable unless Tabata do what I want. The next saga to have magic tools important. I mean, he can get there, but again, they need to have huge boosts in order to defeat any of the Dark Triad members, and it has to be a big. Each of the Dark Triad has to be a raid boss. Each of them has to be a big raid boss. Otherwise, again, they're not a threat. They have to each have like a presence, like they're fighting the Word Double, because they have to be a dominating people to battle. Each of them need to feel like their own like event that it turns the tide. Like losing one of the Dark Triad should be a massive detrimental blow to the Spade Kingdom. If Xeno is defeated in any way, if he's pushed in any way here, then it would be, it would just be such a detrimental hit to the hype. The closest I could really be to any way of quote unquote pushing is for Xeno to say, oh, okay, I guess I gotta use some of the demon power. And that's just like, oh, he pops like demon bone magic, and then it's like a one shot, no diffs William at all. Just completely just beats him, no effort at that point. I don't want in any way for William to contend against Xeno. I don't. I absolutely don't. I don't think any of the captains should be able to contend with him 1v1 to any degree. Not at the moment, no. Asta might get another wing at the end of this arc. Maybe way later down the line. I think it's definitely going to have to be after a point where he gets more familiar with the anti-magic demon. One of my friends recently told me that he believes Lumiere is the slowest character in Black. I don't know even. No. He's absolutely. He's faster than. He's a way more prominent and powerful light mage than Patri. Patri even says so. Even I mean, that's not like, oh, we're calculating numbers or what. I mean, if a character is skilled in a specific set, says this guy is better than me, he's outright better than me, and logically he's better because we know that Lumiere is a Wizard King level person, then yeah, of course, then yeah, there's not only a statement from a person who specializes in that, there's also logic inverse setup for that to be the case. I mean, that just makes sense. Even if Asta does get a second wing, so long as the anti-magic doesn't cover his entire body. Well, I don't think the demonic aura that covers him is straight up like oh yeah, Asta can't take damage if it hits him in the side that it's in. I think it's more of like an increasement, because as we can see with the Dark Disciples, and as we see with the Dark Triad, the same kind of like black energy is stretching on him. So it seems not as anti-magic energy is covering Asta. The anti-magic obviously is becoming more prominent, goes into sword and stuff. I think more of like what's covering Asta is the demonic power in general, just like the devil kind of like energy. I think it does increase his anti-magic capabilities, but I don't think it's like, oh yeah, anywhere that black is touching, immune to magic. Maybe like resistant, but I don't think it'd be like, oh yeah, if it touches him, then he's unstoppable. Maybe I'm wrong, but at the same time, like, we haven't seen it yet. I don't think we've seen a part where it's like somebody shoots a spell at Asta on like the side where he's got the black all in his hair and the horn, where it hits the horn and it just erased. We haven't seen that yet, so we can't really kind of gauge that at the moment. What's up, Zach God? How's it going? What's your favorite Black Clover attack and stuff now? I really like Black Divider, and I really like Caldus Brachium Barrage. I really love the idea of Marileona. She's just punching him from all directions, because it also, because of the fact that she can burn magic, it would be hitting their mana skin. And as we saw with Riot, it prevents them from using spells. So it's not just like, oh yeah, you're getting hit by all these powerful attacks. It's also preventing you from really doing a lot of stuff. So it's like it's both like a crowd control and damaging attack at the same time, which I think is really neat. Let me scroll down a little. Plus, Soulburner should have been the main. Yeah, I really wish that Soulburner was the main character of Raids. I agree. I wonder how Unify against the Dark Triad will go badly. I think he's gonna lose. Because even if he's strong enough to beat one of the Dark Disciples, there's a second one. Even if he beats the second Dark Disciple member, Dark Triad guy right here. Zeno's right there. And even like going into the fight, like William sweat, and I think he knows that Zeno is way stronger than him. I think he's gonna need Patreon involved to even get to the point where he's not just killed instantly. Well, not killed, defeated, because we know that Zeno wants to take William, either him or his magic. I know. Again, I mentioned this earlier. I know some people speculate maybe he can steal magic. I'm wondering maybe he can steal grimoires, and maybe they could like take somebody's grimoire, like maybe that's one of the powers that the Spade Kingdom has. They can, well, I think it may be. I think what would be the best option is like, oh, they take William and they brainwash him or something. Maybe they have some form of brainwashing technology. If they can somehow steal grimoires, I think it would have to be kill them and take their grimoire, because then it would have to be like, well, that'd be kind of OP if it's something like in Bleach, where the coincidence, it's like, oh, use your Bankai, I can steal it. Because like, well, that's kind of OP if they could just steal grimoires, because that's gonna take them. Maybe it's only the Dark Triad members that can, or something. I think the idea of like kidnapping him and like kind of like brainwashing him would be the best kind of thing, like forcing him to be on their side through something, maybe some demonic possession or something. Maybe one of Mikikyo's powers is he can mess with people's minds. I don't know. Just because there is speculation. If it's Raya can steal, or if it's Zeno can steal magic and add it to his grimoire, I don't really like that. I think it'd be kind of too close to just making him a more powerful Raya. I mean, because really, what would make him different than Raya? It's like, oh, I've got all these different magics in one grimoire. I mean, that's what Raya has. You'd just be buffer Raya. I don't want that to be the case. I hope the DxD is a great watch. I haven't watched much of High School DxD. I've read part of the manga. I think I watched the first season of the anime. Eventually, I plan on getting caught up. I mean, it's a silly series. It's got a lot of titties, but it's one that I might. So I might get. So I have a Crunchyroll account. I don't pay for it right now. I'm thinking of doing that because I got one of those TVs that have like the apps installed, and Crunchyroll is on there. So I'm like, yeah, it's easy to just I can put it just in my living room on my TV. And sometimes I like just to hang out there if I don't feel like playing any games. I don't feel like making any videos. So I just go hang out down there, watch TV and whatnot. So now I can logically just pull up an anime on there that they have. So I know they have DxD, so I might catch up on that at some point. That's why I was thinking of maybe doing some like, maybe like watch together stuff. Maybe I can catch it, because if I do have then renew Crunchyroll account, then maybe I can do some watch together stuff for like Patreon or something. Again, I would need to have something really that would make logical sense, maybe low price of what people would want to do. So I imagine at least if you guys are here, you at least like talking to me and you like hearing my opinions to a degree. So maybe you'd be interested in that. I need to maybe set it up and like figure out how to do all that. I think I'd be able to. I just have to like figure out how like Patreon's like video system works for that to be the case, but I don't know. Because like I know like you can do donations through YouTube, but YouTube ends up taking like a third of it. They always take like I think it's 30. I think it actually is just like a straight third of super chats. That's why people have Streamlabs, and like I mean going through Streamlabs right now, but I think it's a hassle probably for people to get set up on another thing where generally they're already set up through YouTube if they ever felt like throwing a super chat at somebody, which I can understand. It's I hope this Spanking will be more involved. I want to see more about I don't think a lot of I think anybody that really follows Black Clover understands I think a lot of people that casually pay attention to it don't understand and that is supposed to be the opposite of Asta, whereas Asta's he was this energetic, loud, very in people's faces, very friendly guy that's becoming more mature and more realized about the world as he's going. Is a very kind of closed off, very emotionally calm, very quiet guy who's becoming more open as the story goes. Like when we go back and look at the real fight, he really, when he made Spirit Dive, he was thinking more about using against Asta. He was like, man, I really wanted to save this to go against him, but he had a lot of fun fighting Rill, and the only time he generally before that would break out of the shell that he is when he interacted with Asta. So that was a big deal for his character to really kind of find joy outside of the interactions with Asta or anybody that he grew up with, because those were the only times where he really kind of were more kind of what I would guess comfortable for him. I'm sure you've seen kind of like really awkward one of my cousins is super kind of like quiet. He's very awkward, but he likes talking to me because he's a weeb guy too. I have two brothers. they're like, yeah, he doesn't really talk to us, but I can talk to him, about anime and whatnot. So like, I imagine that's kind of like what is like. It's easy for me to understand that kind of mindset. I don't talk to a lot of people I'm not comfortable with. Like I'm not a super like outgoing guy. I can talk a lot, but that's only when I feel comfortable. Like if I'm not comfortable with somebody in real life, like I'm not gonna really talk to them. If I get in that comfort zone, I can talk forever about all these things. I mean, you've been on my streams. I've been talking for 2 hours. For me, it's felt like 10 minutes because I just keep rambling on about whatever questions you guys have for me. Man of culture, indeed. How come you didn't like Edalus? So the thing about Edalus that really bothers me is it didn't have a lot of impact. Like, I wish that Edalus, like the fact that they had, didn't have their magic, they had to use the magic tools. Like Natsu had that sword where, it's like, Edalus Lucy Straight said, if you regulate it, then you should be able to get all these uses out of it. Natsu immediately just pulled it, and went all in and used up all the power that was in it. I was hoping maybe Natsu, like the idea of, maybe Natsu learns kind of control. And maybe, like, because Wendy at that point wasn't much of a fighter, this is where she kind of, like, learns ideas for attacks. We know that she obviously watched, like, when we saw in, in the fight with Hades, she, like, learned her Sky Dragon's wing attack because she watched Natsu fight, which was nice. I love Wendy. But for Natsu, like, it should have been things that really made it so their characters come out of the arcs with, like, knowledge. Like, Natsu's like, maybe I should learn more attacks. Like, instead of just all-around big AoE attacks, maybe Natsu, like, condensed his fire and could pretty much have this much more compact flame. Like, maybe he had kind of like an attack that was kind of like how you see like a blowtorch where it comes condensed down and then it just is like a much hotter, much more vicious kind of burn. Something like that, or, or like kind of like you see like a rocket engine, how much of it just is just, it just looks like it looks like it could just blaze through it. Because there's large scale fires and the idea of like a condensed down like that, control. And there's not a lot about Edalus that does like a lot. That it's like when you go to the next arc, like the only things in Edalus, it's like, okay, now you have Gacho got his own Exceed. Like the Exceeds coming over to their world didn't amount to much. Like you have Nichia joining Blue Pegasus, which was funny. You have like right now we have Toka because now the Exceed all exist around the world, are existent. Like, the fact that all the remaining magic got drained out of Edalus, put it into Earthland, should have done something. Like, maybe the reason that, like, time skip. Why are all these characters so much more powerful than 7 years ago? It's like, because we know the Ether Nano in Fairy Tail is, it's naturally in the air. You have this big flux of magic just come into the realm at the end of the Edalus arc. Why wasn't that a thing? You can kind of, like, go into, you can logically say that, from a standpoint of, I mentioned the story, but it should have been something that added something to the story. Like, maybe characters in general were more powerful after that point. Maybe characters like, just older characters like Aragorn came back. Maybe that's why he'd be much stronger when he was in not Crime Sorcery, in Oracion Sais during the Starry Sky arc. Maybe, like, one of the areas that, like, opened up when they drained all the magic outside of Edalus, he was near one of the portals, or one of these characters. Like, and maybe that's why Sabretooth was so strong, because maybe their guild hall was near one of these open portals, and so, like, all this magic got drained, and it strengthened them somehow. And, like, there wasn't, there's a lot of, like, the fight between Nightwalker and Scarlet was good, the fight between Gajo and Panther Lily was really good, and I like the fight between the Dragon Slayers and Faust, and there was a lot of good story stuff, like the way that Natsu and them kind of like sent off with Mistogun, the way that they made it look like a hero, so he could become the leader that they needed at that time. Now that they didn't have magic, that was good. And the reason I don't like Edalus is because, like, again, it doesn't carry over into anything that really affects the story. Because when you look at a lot of arcs in Fairy Tail, there are aspects that do carry over. Like events with Jalal, finding out stuff about Zareth, finding out about stuff that really affects stuff, finding out about, like, the Etherians and, the different, like, stuff in the world, or even opens up stuff that get explored for, like, spin-offs. There wasn't really in anything about Edalus that was that valuable, and that's kind of where I'm like, do I really want to? I don't hate it. It's just my least liked arc because it didn't really, like, give anything large scale back to the series. It felt like it should have been an anime only arc made canon, because it would have been fine as an anime only arc, but I would have much preferred the Starry Sky arc as an anime arc or a manga arc than Edalus. I would have rather seen that in the manga than Edalus. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. It's definitely, when it comes to like arcs and fairy tale, I would put that as my least liked arc. Just personally, I don't hate it. I just, if it was like Rax, you have no criticism of fairy tale at all. You just love everything that happens. Like, no, I've given my criticism over Edalus. It's why I'm not a huge fan of that arc. And right here, I just told you guys, I'm not a big fan of that arc personally. Do I hate it? No. It's one of those arcs I can look at and be like, yeah, I can criticize this because I don't think it really amounted to a whole lot. Like, one of the things that I really wish was the case was maybe Urza took some of the pieces of maybe like either maybe she took a piece of the Dorna Anim or Nightwalker's Revolt or Ten Commandments spear in general, took it back, forged it into a weapon. Some things that really kind of carried over that made it so it's like, oh yeah, because of Edalus this. It's like really the only thing we really got out of that was like, oh yeah, Polyuchika, hard to pronounce the name. Polychusica, again, name can't pronounce. Oh, she's Edalus Grandine that came over because of the anima portals. Oh, they were able to keep Jalal from getting arrested because they just said he was, Mr. Gun is Edalus Jalal. Oh yeah, that's really it. Can you really kind of like, I mean, like look at the Starry Sky arc. At the end of the Starry Sky arc, it was brought in the end of the manga. It explained why there aren't a lot of stellar spirit mages, a lot of celestial spirit mages aren't around anymore. It explained why, Lucy logically is the only one with all the best keys at this point. And why her and Yukino are pretty much like two characters have all of the best keys. They have all the best keys between two characters. There's not like celestial spirit magic. It's not like there was a lot of them to begin with. We saw Lucy get them throughout the story, but at the same time, it's like, well, why aren't, like, if you can buy these keys in stores, why don't we see a lot of them? Oh, well, they were hunted down in the Starry Sky arc. The guys in Horacio Seis were going, was it, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, Horacio Seis was going to kill him. I'm trying to remember if it was them or the Zentopia Church off the top of my head. I think it was Zentopia. I haven't rewatched that arc in a while, so, that celestial spirit mages are being hunted. So, you can kind of look at it and be like, well, there's stuff that from that arc kind of carries over, which I like. I like that aspect. Not a huge fan that it's like after Edalus, it's like, well, what does that arc really amount to? Nothing really. Say what you will about High School of the Dead. I like High School of the Dead. I always thought that was kind of fun. I liked that it was actually kind of felt like a zombie series. Obviously, it had a lot of lewd titties and stuff, but it still kind of carried into a lot of the more normal zombies. That's what, if you've ever seen the series. This is a series that started out a couple years ago. It was called Kingdom of Zombie, and it was all about zombies. I never found out what the main character's power was. He just seemed kind of like have this weird kind of like auto kill, but like weird berserk mode. I think the author got arrested for like he hacked into something. I don't really know. And the series got canceled. Made me sad. I really liked that. That was one of those ones that's like I don't think it was shown in any of the big shonen magazines. I'd have to look into it. I just remembered about it. But I really like that series, and I really wish that it was still going. Do you read Soul Leveling? I haven't yet. Maybe I'll put that on a list of like ones to maybe get to eventually. There's a lot of stuff that there's a lot of stuff that I want to read that I'm too lazy to read, or I get wrapped up into something else. That's why I like the idea of like maybe doing like one of the Patreon tiers is like, oh, $5, I'll read something you suggest and then do a review on it and stuff and add it to my thing or something, because it would give me incentive, but it also would be like a thing that make it kind of like feel like you have an impact on stuff that I'm doing. Like Kinmano, last week's stream, the dude kept donating me, and because he's been wanting me to read Hinowa Got Crush, which is a sequel to Kame Ga Kill. And I was like, I always meant to get to it. Like, it's not like I was like, I don't want to read this. But, I just never got around to it. I'm almost caught up with it right now. But, he was like, all right, now you have to read it. I'm like, yeah, I pretty much do have to read it. And I'm enjoying it. So I'm hoping maybe, like, I can kind of get around to doing that. Not just because it's like, I don't want to read this unless you pay me. I think it would get my lazy ass incentivized to maybe get to some of these series that I'm interested in, but maybe I'm a little lazy, but I get sidetracked. But it would be like I kind of have to. I owe these guys for X, Y, and Z. I already do videos that I'm hoping people enjoy. But if I have this kind of like, if you have a Patreon system, you owe it to people in Patreon because it's not like donations; they're paying for this extra service. And again, it would only I couldn't do like big ones. I would have to do like $3 or $5. It's like, yeah, I'll read this. I'll do a review on it or something. Again, I'm thinking about this because it's gotta be a way that it's fair, but it doesn't feel like oh, you're paying all this for something completely out of Kimano. God, I can't. I would have read Hinoga Crush if you gave me like $10. Dude's a mad lad. Anyway, anybody who was there last week, that dude like completely blew my mind how much money he kept throwing at me. Oh my god. I'm looking forward to the Pokemon Sword and Shield expansion pack. I'm gonna definitely play that. I'm pretty stoked. I still need to beat Sword and Shield. I've been sitting getting ready to go to the Pokemon League for weeks. I keep getting wrapped into other stuff. And I gotta get to that. I gotta beat the game. I haven't even got what is it? Eternit, whatever that big creepy like Cthulhu digital looking monster is, like that the big third Pokemon, not the legendaries of this one. Truckgun is getting out of control. There was one series that noted that it's like, yes, the very vague obscure truck that comes to kill the Isekai guy. And I'm just like, what series was that? I'm trying to remember, but obviously, yeah, the truck is always in there. If I was ever going to do an Isekai, I would not use a truck. I would use something like better. I think I would use something more of like logically, like you wouldn't see that, like a helicopter or maybe a like power outage or a power line blows up because like a bird flies into the box. What are they called? What are those big things that power lines are called? Like maybe a bird flies, like a bunch of birds hit it or something. Maybe some guy does something stupid, like shoots a gun at it, or he's playing with a drone and it runs into it, causes it like short circuit and explode. Something that it's like more believable than the classic truck, because I get that the truck is kind of a meme now, but I definitely couldn't use the truck. I'd also really want to definitely not do the whole like, oh, you get this really unfair power. It'd be like, you're obviously going to get a main character power, but I don't want it to ever feel like, oh yeah, you're just broken from day one. Because like Asta has his swords, which are very useful, but they're not broken. They have weaknesses to them, as we've seen. They're looking fine in the opening and ending. That was funny to me. So not only was, a lot of people got into Black Clover recently in the last week. Like a lot of people started checking out on Twitter because like how good the new opening was. But I know a lot of people also got into it because they were interested in Nero. Nero being a cutie bird. So that was very fun to me. I like Nero. Especially, I like her little voice too. I hate when it is not manga this week. Yeah, well, they deserve some time off, so it's all right. Black Clover snubbed by Crunchyroll. Absolutely, it was very, very, very annoying. I can't believe that. It's stupid, and it feels legitimately. It doesn't feel like, oh, they didn't win anything. It's the fact they're not nominated for anything after how like they did consistently well throughout 2019. Like they start out, they got the Finral gets saved by the Black Bulls. Very hype part. Super hype part. Then they had the fight where Asta fought Langris, the Yuno versus Rill. They followed into Marileona's fighting Raya, Julia versus Patri, and finishing out with Asta versus they finished up with Asta versus and Asta and Yuno versus Licht, and then the debut of the Demon. There were so many good parts in this year, and yet it didn't get nominated for one. That's ridiculous. What's up, Josuke D? How you doing, man? Man, I keep seeing you do all these Black Clover Quartet Night streams for PS4, and I'm just like, man, I got it for Steam because I was like, logically, like because I streamed it for a while, and I don't stream off my PS4. I stream off my computer, so I can't play it with you guys. And I don't play my PS4 enough to be like, oh, I'm gonna go buy another one. I don't know. Maybe next game they'll get a PS4 version. I bet they're gonna. They are. The phone game is coming out soon, which looks pretty cool. I'm hoping. I haven't played it yet. I imagine it's like any other gacha game. I want to play it. I'm really hoping not to spend money on it. I spent an unfortunate amount of money on some gacha games, and I've learned my lesson. So I'll do my best for the future. Feels like Sarah since we got an Eden Zero chapter. Well, that's because Crunchyroll is stupid. So here's the thing. So chapter 75 was supposed to come out a week later. Crunchyroll didn't get the memo that they were supposed to take a week off and then put it out. And then it was, 76 is supposed, because it was supposed to be same as Shonen Jump, where it was, oh, next week it was the week following no chapter, week after that chapter, week following no chapter, and then another chapter. They just said, oh no, we're just gonna put out normal for the next 2 weeks, and then so it's like you're gonna get weeks without another chapter, and it was kind of cool that for me because I got to do reviews on them, and in a normal video, oh cool, I get views, I get maybe some new subscribers and whatnot, but at the same time, you get that drought, and it's felt forever since we've got a new chapter, Eden Zero and Seven Sins, and it just sucks. I understand, man. Release at the Witch. Oh. Wait, Release at the Witch? What do you mean? Oh, there's a new series coming out, actually, in Shonen Jump. The next 3 Shonen Jumps are each supposed to have a brand new series. One of them, I expect all of you to read. One of them is by, again, not just you. Josuke, if you're still here, any Black Clover guy that's checking in, we need to push it because it is by one of Tabata's former assistants. So, as Zipman was by somebody who worked with Horikoshi, one, I expect My Hero Academia fans to be pushing that, because if that guy worked for Horikoshi, that means they're friends. This guy, I assume, is friends with Tabata, and I assume Tabata, is supporting him. As Black Clover fans, we need to support this guy. I have to look into it. I know that they worked for Tabata. I'm guessing the week that it comes out, they're going to mention that when advertising it. Whenever that one comes, well, for one, I'm going to read all 3 of the upcoming ones. But whichever is the one that is by the guy who worked with Tabata, as the Black Clover fans, we need to give him support. The Black Clover community is a very, very chill-headed community. That's one of the things I really like about it. And so I think as a crew, as a squad, as a unit, we need to support this. I think it's the Sorcerer's Guardian. I think that's the one that's called. When it comes out, I'll bring it up again. But just remember, if you haven't heard, one of the upcoming series in Shonen Jump that is new is going to be by a guy who used to be one of the assistants at Tabata. So as all the Black Clover fans need to read it and support the guy. Moonlit Journey is a good isekai. His family is from the world he gets sent to, and he and his sister is born on Earth. Well, maybe I'll check it out. Does it have an anime? Or is it just manga? That doesn't really matter. I generally read manga. How was Record Ragnarok 25? Oh man, dude. I need to start. I'm going to start reviewing that. I regret not reviewing Chapter 25 when it came out. I'm going to keep reviewing it. I really love it. I love Record of Ragnarok. I have a lot of fun reading it. I really like that this series could go on forever because the plot doesn't matter. The plot isn't what I'm interested. I really, really like that it's got a really cool premise, and for a lot of the time it's action, and then you find out lore between these characters. Like half of it is like, oh, really cool badass, like fighting choreography and characters flexing, like cool character feats. But also you're finding out about their backstories. You're getting invested in their characters. It doesn't have to, and it's doing world building at the same time. And I think that's really cool. Because obviously it's not the same as like you're not making the whole character. They're basing off of characters from fiction or from lore or real life people. So it's easier for them to do like, oh, we'll write their stories. They're taking stuff about them, maybe tweaking it a little bit, and it probably makes it a lot easier for these writers that are on the for the writer of the series. And then it just like, okay, now we just need to get good art. We need to think about who's going to win and whatnot. And then really it's not like, oh, we think of all these crazy things, but it's like, oh no. The only thing you really need to first think of going into is who's going to win in this fight. And then it's just telling their backstories and cool fighting choreography. And it could go on forever. Because you could have another, 1,000 years later, they want to do it again. Okay, well, do you really think people are going to get tired of, like, the format? I don't think so. You get, one of the fun things I think is really cool is when you see the roster, oh, cool, gods, and then, mortals that are in it. And I'm, like, characters like Nikolai Tesla is really cool, Grigori Rasputin I'm excited for. I want to see... The one that I would really, really I would fall in love with seeing on a map, but like the platform for Record of Ragnarok is like Abraham Lincoln, and it's just like maybe the author watched. If you've ever seen the movie Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, I love that movie. It's for a B kind of like rated movie. It's so much fun, and I would love to see that. Like Abraham Lincoln is just his character, and he's just going in there with like some god powered axe, and he's just like ready to take down a god. Maybe he fights like a character who's supposed to be like Yggdrasil, the world tree or something, and he's just like, I've cut down bigger trees or something. That'd be so awesome. I love that. I absolutely love that. My God. And especially like, it'd be cool from the standpoint, obviously, though, I'd be able to be like, America, fuck yeah. But this Abraham Lincoln with that axe, man. Well, I guess like the tree cutting had to do more with wait, was it? Oh my god, now I'm getting confused. No, because did he cut the tree down, or was that George Washington? I know George Washington, the whole like thing was he had wooden teeth, but I don't think that was true. I think it's a myth. Although I'm trying to remember. I think I'm getting, I don't know if I'm getting my memory of like actual history mixed up with the movie because he had an axe. Was he the one? No, George Washington cut down the cherry tree. Now I'm getting messed up on real world history. I'm gonna have to look into. But I'm thinking like, well, then wasn't that why Abraham Lincoln had an axe? I'm getting all mixed up. Regardless of which, Abraham Lincoln, big badass. He's like the coolest looking president. So I would love to put him in there. I mean, he's got that badass top hat. I mean, come on. Noble snobs are the worst. Black Clover shows it. I mean, yeah, because you're gonna get. That's one of the things with Black Clover. It's like one of the reasons why I'm not a fan of Soul. Is Soul is like a huge sexist, and Black Clover sexism shouldn't exist because in Black Clover it's all magic. It's all kind of like set up with magic. And I get like you could have trauma in like why you're like you could have like I don't like X, Y, and Z because of trauma. Which is still like it's like you shouldn't do that, but it's understandable because of your experiences. But in Black Clover, to me, I don't think like sexism should really kind of exist. I get kind of like why humans were racist towards elves because they were paranoid about them, which I can kind of get. But and specifically the Clover Kingdom, like it's all based off of your magical capability, so it shouldn't matter if you're a woman, because again. I can't imagine being in Black Clover and being like, women are inferior, and it's just like Marileona exists. I'd be like, could you imagine knowing that she's a person, or like even like you got like Charlotte and Dorothy, but just Marileona in general, knowing she exists. And we already have like Aesir Silva as well, but just Marileona, just knowing Marileona exists, I'd be like, oh man, I'm not gonna talk shit to women. She here catches wind, that she's gonna beat my ass. I'm not doing that. Especially it's like. It's not down to physical capability because like again like a whole lot of the thing of like sexism in real world because it has to do with like men's physical, like generally men are stronger than women, they went off to war and stuff, so it's like okay, I can kind of get where people stem that idea out of way back in the day. Doesn't make sense in Black Clover because you could be some like you could look at Dorothy's like 5 feet tall, she's tiny. She's a little girl. I doubt she's physically strong at all. She's broken in magic. She's very powerful. I don't think you could take some dude who's 7 feet tall and could pick up ox with his bare hands. If he doesn't have the magic to compete, she's gonna kick the shit out of him. That's just the way it works in Black Clover. So like I like the way that it's worked with the nobles instead. But I got in a tangent because I don't like Soul because it doesn't logically make sense that sexism exists in Black Clover. Twip is the worst, so Twip is the worst, and so is the Distant Kingdom. What do you mean? I don't understand that. Twip is the worst? I don't know what you mean by that, my guy. Honestly, I like Isekai Cheat Magician, even when the very generic Also Wise Grandson is great. Isekais generally don't do it for me. Android 21 should have been Best Girl. Isn't she from a video game, though? I don't think they could have used it for the anime. And I don't know if I count, even for anime stuff, I don't know if I count like Dragon Ball Super, or is it Super Dragon Ball Heroes? I don't know. I don't know if I can count that. They're like 8-minute shorts. They're not very. They're like goofs. It'd be like nominating, like for Black Clover, it'd be like nominating the little side series. I wouldn't go with that. I mean, should release the Witch. Re-release the Witch. I've never heard of it. I have to look into it. My favorite Yu-Gi-Oh protagonist. Mine is Yuma, Jaden, and mine is obviously. So Yugi is my favorite. Jaden is the one that I would definitely like to be friends with the most. But I really like, because like I think Yugi has the most interesting story. I really like original Yu-Gi-Oh! Generally, I'm not like, oh, original's the best one. I think original Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the best. I like the story the most. I think it has the best cast. And I think it's the most fun. I like duels, especially when it was more of like, you have like Dark Magician, you have cards that support it. But for the most part, like a lot of the decks are more of like you get cards and you figure out like, oh well, how do I balance this into this? I get archetypes and I get like why they exist. I'm not a huge fan of archetypes. I really wish that if I could keep Yu-Gi-Oh the way it was like way back in the day and still be successful, I would. I get logically why they'd have archetypes, but whatever. It's just to me, I think the idea of like the best for dueling would be you just have a bunch of cards. You just have a bunch of cards and you figure out the best way that they work. And it would make ace cards kind of like understandable why they're ace. is that it's because they also not only are they powerful, but they have support cards. Like Dark Magician has all these really good support cards. But I mean, it's all right with me. But again, Yu-Gi-Oh! Yugi is my favorite main character. Jaden is my second, but if I got to pick one to hang out with, and especially if I got to pick, like, it'd be Jaden. But if I get to pick a world to live in, I'd pick GX. I love the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. It's that perfect blend. If I get to really pick, it's like all like full scale. I'd go Arc 5 only because then I could dimension hop and go to these other ones. But it just in like the general idea. I mean, because if you were gonna do dimension hopping, you'd have to be in kind of like some of this like bigger crazy end character stuff. And kind of like with the idea of why I would pick Yu-Gi-Oh! Over a lot of different series to live in is like because obviously I'd be like Rex, why wouldn't you pick Black Clover Fairy Tail? Black Clover is definitely a safe one because generally you're gonna get magic. Doesn't mean you're powerful, but you're gonna get magic because obviously only Asta is the only one that doesn't have magic. It's like I think a lot of people pick something like My Hero Academia or like Marvel or DC or something. It's like, I mean, you could exist in them. Doesn't mean you're going to get a power. It doesn't mean you're going to get a power. And if you get a power, doesn't mean you're going to be strong. Look at My Hero Academia. It's 80% of people have quirks, but a majority of quirks suck. A lot of them are very silly. Some of them are life ruining. Look at Tamura or Ares. Some of them were things that led to them having horrible lives growing up. Black Clover, I think, like the worst of it, you just have some weak elemental magic. The reason I would not pick something like Black Clover Fairy Tail or something is in Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon, I think, are the optimal ones because you could literally start a journey with a couple dollars in your pocket. You go buy a Pokeball. You literally just have enough for food of getting to point A to point B. You battle people for money, and you literally you go to the store. I'd like 5 Pokeballs. You literally walk out from that store. You say, oh, look, some bushes 10 feet from me. You go in the bushes, you go around, you find a Pokemon, you catch it, you start your journey. That's literally all you need to do in Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! You literally, all you need to do is get a dual disc. Once you get a dual, I don't know how much dual discs cost. I don't imagine much, given the Yu-Gi-Oh! World. But other than that, you go, I mean, even before that, you can probably make enough, even if dual discs are expensive, you go to the store, you buy a couple packs, you figure out how to be good at it. Like you figure out a formula for whatever your cards are. You duel. You probably win some. You good enough win some tournaments. Probably are going to get a dual disc, either a forward one or awarded to you along the way, and then you can become like world famous and make a lot of money. It's those ideas of like, oh well, you could be in any of these crazy cool power ones, or you play like ultra safe, which to me it'd be like. Kind of like the idea is if you get like a genie. You can make a wish, but I know like a lot of genies, they screw you over because of technicalities. Like, oh, I wish to be in My Hero Academia. It's like, well, maybe you're born with no powers. Maybe you're born with crappy powers. It's like that. You got to be very specific. Otherwise, it's just like, oh yeah, you're given this opportunity to jump in this world. Personally, I'd play safe, just because of something like that. It's like, well, could you imagine? It's like, some otherworldly beings, like I give you the wish of whatever world of fiction you just teleport into. And you pick something like Marvel, you're just some guy. You're just some guy who's sometimes on TV is like, man, it's crazy in New York, and you're in Nebraska, you just have a normal job. And then like every couple of years, it's like, well, the world might end tomorrow. Shit. I just imagine that every time. Eden Zero has been very blue balling us. It's not Eden Zero. It's Crunchyroll. It's Crunchyroll completely. It's because they're dumb and they didn't get the memo that they were supposed to take a week period off in between the chapters and like over the holidays. It's 100% Crunchyroll, not Eden Zero, not Kodansha. It's 100% Crunchyroll. They were stupid and didn't get the memo. Maybe Deku can only use one extra quirk at a time. Maybe there are limitations to it that could work. Emperor Greymon and Magna Garurumon. I remember them. I couldn't remember the names because there's Emperor Greymon and there's Kaiser Greymon. That's in Kaiser Greymon. I think is Digimon Data Squad, and I know Kaiser's close to that. It's kind of like Gallantmon is also Dukemon, and I think one of the Greymons and the Japanese one is Duke Greymon. So it's like you kind of get things mixed up. Generally, I go with the dubs. Digimon is one of those ones I will always go with the dubs for. I like the dubs of them. I don't like with Yu-Gi-Oh! I really like the dubs of Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh man, this stream's been going on for a while. It's over 2 hours, so it's 2.5 hours now. Rex, I'm not caught up on Mission however it's pronounced, Yakuzkra or whatever. Whatever it is, the one where the dude marries that one chick in Del Mafia family. I'm not caught up on that. Wait, what? Did you say Gildarts versus the Silver Surfer? How's Gildarts gonna fight the Silver Surfer? Gildarts can't do that. Silver Surfer like crosses like the universe in like a couple hours and like lots of crazy cosmic stuff. Damn it, dude! I'm way behind. I need to catch up. So let me start speed reading. Speaking of All Might, so I'm the only one kind of disappointed in the Deku versus. No, so they did add a lot of stuff. They changed it. They made it more flashy. They still made it really cool. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Why I want it. They added a little bit. They didn't super like beef it up, but that it wasn't. They don't need to. They just had to heighten it because that was Deku's first big power up. He got what the fans were given, like a good one. I think people expected it to be some like 15-minute raw movie fight scene. I thought it looked fine. I think they did a really good job. I think people like were expecting something that they shouldn't have. You shouldn't just hope for good animation. Not everything is like going to be some really like drawn out extra battle portion. Like again, there's a saying when it comes to that, expect manga accuracy, but hope for added stuff. Again, that's one of the things I'm very grateful to Black Clover anime is they're able to take stuff in fights and extend them out. And that's, to me, when it comes to anime adaptations, they should be enhancing what is given out. Whether that's just, we're going to make it look really good. Maybe the author says, I didn't like what happened here. I really wanted to do it this way. Kind of like with Deku. Deku just kind of, like, if you go look at the manga, the fight when he gets in for the 100% is pretty anticlimactic. Like, he punches Overhaul into the air, he punches him another time. There's, like, the flashback where Overhaul has his flashback. And then Deku, like, throws him over his shoulder into the ground, and then it's over. They did a lot of I think they made it a lot better in the anime, and I'm happy they did that. I'm happy that, because Overhaul kind of, like, went down super fast. And it wasn't, like Asta took down Ludros very quickly after his form, but it had a cool layout, and he got Black Meteorite, which was really cool. It was a cool panel. He got a really badass finisher move. Deku didn't even get a really badass finisher move, which that was one of the things. Like it felt weird because it's like the overthrow. It felt like it was going to be one of those panels building up, like throws him to the ground, and then he gets his own unique attack. Like he has like some big smash move, like maybe I don't know. I'm trying to think of somewhere like Boston Smash or something. Then maybe Deku like goes to Japan or something. Maybe he starts maybe it's like his own United States Smash. I don't know. Whatever, a Deku original, or it is just a big finisher move. And that's all those are the things about the manga. I was very happy that they beefed up in the anime. So I wasn't disappointed. I thought it was good. Like, I think people were expecting them to make it like a big long fight. I think they did great. So whatever. It's not the final arc, but considering what's happening now, Promised Neverland, I can't see it going for more than like 40 chapters, but I don't know it at this point. Smarty said this was the final kind of like layout, because I know they kind of like beat all they're like the final bad guy. I don't really know how long it'll be. I'm gonna read it when it's over, because to me it's one of those series kind of like Kingdom, where it's not one of the series that I really want to read week to week. I think it works better in like binges. I think it personally works a lot better when you're kind of like going at in big clumps, not like a battle shonen. I think those work better as, I mean, if you're watching the anime, I think it'd probably work better as binge watching. But I think those, when it comes to like maybe like a mysterious kind of like much more serious, well, not much more serious, much more kind of like less battle and more of like drama and like the tension, maybe more of like a little bit more problem solving kind of stuff is better when you're seeing it in real time. It's kind of like one of the reasons I like the Yu-Gi-Oh anime more than the manga. It's like I love Yu-Gi-Oh, but I think it goes it's way more fun to watch fluid in the anime than reading the card game in the manga. Just personally to me. Stardust Lucy vs. Valkyrie dress Noelle. Oh, Lucy is gonna dominate her. I mean, Lucy. So I argued with someone with this earlier. When it came to like when they were talking about like Lucy, like if Mirror is not stronger than Gray, then where's Lucy if she's weaker than Mirror? Lucy is not a power output character. She is not the difference between the Fairy Tail cast, which I really like. One of the things I like with them is that their powers vary a lot. Great. So you have 3 different Slayers. Slayer mages are generally very durable, and they can obviously eat their element. That's one of their things. They all have the kind of like similarity if they're advancing down the path line of whatever they're adapting their body to really have as their magic. Dragons, demons, gods. The God Slayer is kind of weird because we still don't really. God Slayer is like that kind of weird MacGuffin where we still like know very, 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 very little about God Slayers, and we haven't seen a whole lot demonstrated about them. Like we don't even know if they have a God Slayer version equivalent of Dragon Force, which we don't know if they will. Again, it's Dragon Slayer is just like the redhead stepchild of Slayer's magic, and if you're a redhead stepchild, I'm talking about the Seg. I don't hate you, but with them, they all have their own things. Natsu is a assault type. He's straight, head in, get in there, attack. Make it harder for his opponent to kind of think when you have lots of casters because you have this guy up in your face. That's one of the things that makes Asa so much of a threat for Black Clover. Wendy is similar, but she is much more like heavy in enchants. She's much more in being a support, but also a healer. And then you have Gray, who is a more of a ranged kind of weapon-like fighter that he's able to adapt because not like with Slayers, you're taking your element, you're using it various. Gray, I think, is way more versatile with his because one, his is a physical matter, and two, when it comes to it, he's got imagination on his side because I imagine for like a Slayer, you're really you're inventing a lot of your techniques because it's like how hard is it with something like a punch or a roar with your element into it? Probably not a lot, but like look at something like Sting and Rogue. They have like their coarse silk attacks. When they I imagine they could do it on their own, but like even the way it's set up with their White Shadow Dragon, they do units in raid version, and you have these shadow and holy needles and threads going around stabbing their opponent from all these different directions. That's going to take a lot more training, a lot more effort to do. And you could just wing attack. You're draping your arms in the element. You're using it in that motion. With Gray, because Gray was a make magician, it was much more, as we know of from what he showed in general, like what was seen with Make Wizards, and from when he got turned into a child. And it's like, yeah, what you helped me. Actually is like, though I'm weaker, my imagination, he's got a child's imagination again, so he's able to just think of like different ways quicker. And so I think Gray's is more in the utility of the fact that he can probably create new Demon Slayer attacks much quicker than like Natsu or Lucy could, because that's just how make magic is. Logically, he can just create different types on the fly. Because really all he's doing is sculpting them into different weapons, and he integrated that in his slaying magic, so he's got that. Urza is a utility and counter character, because generally she's got, elements. Elements are very standard for characters to use. She's got an armor for different elements. She's also got ones for kind of like trick stuff. Oh, I'm fighting a lot of small opponents? Heaven's Wheel armor. Oh, I need to get just big attacks involved? Oh, I'm going to go into, her Black Moon armor. Oh, is this character a Hax caster? She's got a Nakagami armor. Oh, is this character just straight faster than me? Oh, she's either can go into her Sonic Flight armor, or was it Soaring Flight? The speed one, or she's got straight her. I know the wiki is Claire Hart. I like calling it Fire Pants, but you know what I mean. She's got this abandons all defense, goes straight to offense. She's got her Vagabond set. She's got Yodo Betty Sakura, and it's just straight increase attack and speed. And you can go back and look at every fight where she's won using that. She was losing from attack and speed, and it's described, pretty much to do that, as well as the sword. And so that's her thing. Lucy is utility. She has the most diverse set. She's got all of her different spirits that all do different things. She can summon them and then use a spirit dress. She can combine them to enhance them. She's got the most widespread of different abilities on her, which is Lucy's thing. Lucy is not a powerhouse type character. She's got around Mitoria, around Mitria, I'm trying to remember how it's pronounced, but you know what I mean. Big, powerful, celestial attack spell. That is the only thing about her that's like a big assault class. That is her ace in the hole. And though we saw Stardress mix, we don't know how she goes into it. We did see in the fight with Brandish that she can kind of combine whatever she's using into that a little bit. We saw like, oh, she kind of merged. I think that was the kind of the first time we really would see kind of a little bit of a debut of Stardust mix when she went into Aquarius dress, but she kind of combined it with Scorpio, who was up, and then kind of was like, oh, we'll make land water like, land was flowing like water, as we saw, because when he used land based attacks, he's using sand, and with Aquarius it's water. So I think that, I don't know, I went off on a little tangent because I argue with some reason about this, but yeah, I definitely give it to Lucy, because though she also has a large scale, like a much larger scale to use against Noelle, she definitely scales higher in general than her. Not so, of course, Vegeta always loses. I mean, yeah, that is true. I think the Doctor in the first chapter stole Deku's quirk. I have seen that theory. I've definitely seen that theory. I actually would really like it if maybe Deku had a quirk, but it was maybe one that is super basic. That it's the reason why Deku was able to advance these. We need to know more. But wait, no, what's in his dad's? What was his dad's quirk? I'm trying to remember. It wasn't his dad super plane. If Deku didn't have a quirk, fine. If Deku does have a quirk and maybe it was stolen, or it explains something about this, like maybe Deku has some just like weird mutation that allows him to use all these ones, or something. Just something that it's like, oh, this is crappy on its own, but it's because Deku got it. It's it explains something about it, or maybe Deku will get his power back later on. I don't know. I have seen that theory though. Saying Saga Vegeta would blow up planets at the power level of 300 to it. So yeah, so is that scene where he blows up that blood planet anime only, or is it canon? Because I don't remember any. I don't think there's any planet blowing up feats in otherwise until Frieza. I know there's like some pretty impressive feats. So Nappa was going around destroying places. I have to go back and look. I don't think Vegeta was confirmed planet level, and I argued with Dragon Ball fans this before. I don't take a lot of like straight character hype statements. I can blow up this planet, or like Cell's like solar system feat. I don't take that bold face. I absolutely don't take that bold face facts. Especially Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball characters are known for hyping the living hell out of them, and saying guys are like, it's impossible, I'm losing, or they've got some big hype. I've argued with people like all these like guys who think like Beerus is like, oh, he can blow up 1,000,000 universes. It's like, no, he can't. Like, logically, I know I can get the hype. I know Dragon Ball multipliers, but multipliers are very wonky, and canon alone is so against that, with the fact that, yeah, well, they're apparently hyped up Goku and Beerus that eventually they would destroy the universe by clashing, which is like, well, yeah, but over time, 2 people. And when they fully saw one person being able to destroy universe, Zeno, that was like, holy shit, how can he do that? So I don't think for a second Beerus can do it on his own. I know a lot of Dragon Ball fans will argue with me, but I don't see it that way, because of straight canon facts where you have a guy who is able to, on screen, blow up a universe, and these characters are like, that's unreal. How is he able to do that like that? I know a lot of Dragon Ball fans, like Dragon Ball power scale. For me, when you look at a lot of fandoms, the only thing that's funny is because Dragon Ball's very popular. The only thing when I look at like Dragon Ball fandom that it's like I don't like about the Dragon Ball fandom is power scaling. Other than that, I don't have a problem with them. I don't see like a lot of toxicity from Dragon Ball fandoms outside of power scaling. Power scaling is the only thing that to me that it's like about the Dragon Ball fandom that's less like ugh. But yeah, just about that really quick. You ever see Asta eating major character? But Asta has been developing. Here's the thing. So I'm gonna put this again really quick. Also, Silky Johnson, I like your name. That's a good Chappelle Show reference. I'll be really quick, very blunt about it, and compare obvious two at work: My Hero Academia and Black Clover. My Hero Academia, Deku has developed a lot of character. It's made to be very obvious because of the way he started out, and and we don't know how long the series is. Horikoshi did not said it was only going to be planned 30 volumes, I think 30 or 40. And he's going to obviously extend that out because of stuff he's put in the series and how successful it's been. But we don't know the full length of Deku's tale is going to be. The way that Deku started out, it's very, very, very easy to look at his development, because the point was that he started out very weak and frail, but he wanted to change. Asta's very different. Asta's character development is a lot more subtle, because also one of the things is Tabata has said that he's planned for Naruto, like as long as the magazine will let him, he can go as long as One Piece or Naruto. Again, I believe him. Like we've only like everything we got up to like over 200 chapters in just off of the Elf Resurrection arc or saga rather, and I'm willing to bet the Spade War could easily stretch out to be another 200 plus chapters. And then like there's other like the we've only seen one continent, and what's going to happen beyond that? Like what about other devils and stuff? You know, other dimensions. There's a lot, because one of the things that if you look at Black Clover, there's a lot of connections into Norse mythology. You know, look at Broku no Hero. He goes over a lot of that stuff, and there's a lot of potential for other dimensions than just the demon dimension in Black Clover. So Tabata has a lot of further kind of like layout plans. And if you look at Asta, one Asta has developed. You can look at a lot of the way that Asta's been throughout the series, and you have to like keep in mind the idea of the way that you're going to develop a main character, because the main character is the most prominent one. He's the character that you're going to see the most out of all the characters in the story. He's the main character. And if you plan out a series to be 700, 800, 900, 1,000 chapters long, you have to make it so the main character doesn't feel like, oh, it's like if Asta was as developed as like how much Deku's gotten, then Asta, it's like, well, then what is the plan for Asta the rest of the story? If for instance, if it's going to be up to 700, like what are you going to do with Asta the next 500 chapters of the series? You have to plan it out. That's one of the things. That's one of the things I also like about like, I like someone like Natsu. Natsu's is a lot. He's developed. You can like look at aspects about Natsu and say like, oh, you know, he's still got these things the same about him as the character as he was at the start of the series. Like he's very happy. He's a very carefree kind of goofy guy. He likes to be silly. He's a bit of a jackass. But you can look at a lot of the ways he's matured, a lot of the ways he's changed, and a lot of it is you have to keep in mind like someone like Deku, where him drastically changing is part of his story. Or is he like someone like Asta? His is more about him learning about a lot of the real world as things are going on. Whereas someone like Natsu, it's like his experiences in all his adventures are kind of like maturing him, but he's still being who he is. Like when we saw back at like the whole part when inside his body, when it was like choose between being a demon and being a dragon, he chose being himself. Because even though he's still growing as a character, he wants to be him. He is his own identity. He's his own man. So I just wanted to be really quick about that as kind of like a little breakdown, a little difference between something like Asta as his character. He has developed. The difference is, I think Tabata is planning out like the full scale for his character over a much longer time. So he's got to stretch it out. He's got to stretch out bits and pieces over this journey. That instead of it being like, oh yeah, time skip, Asta's way different. It's like, oh, each and every arc is going to give him something. It's going to each give him like everything in the Rough Resurrection arc. Like look at like early Asta, it was like I want to be Wizard King, but because I want to help people that I want to help everybody, not just the rich, because they're obviously prime priority for the Clover Kingdom when stuff goes down, but also the peasant villages that would otherwise be forgotten about out in the outskirts of the Clover Kingdom. He wants to help everybody, and he's not, oh well, I don't want to help the rich people because they were, they didn't pay attention to us. He wants to help everybody. And then if you go back and either read or watch the part where he's talking to Patri, he's like, I can't forgive you from what you've done, but I want to be a Wizard King that helps everybody and that doesn't discriminate, and for where everyone can live at peace. And to do that, I need to help you. I need to save you from where you're at, and I need to get you back on track, and I need to make sure that you help right the wrong that you've done. And that's something that I think really is a big step for Asta. I think Chapter 200 was a really, really emotional point for his character and a big sign of like a step forward for him. A much more mature. He's not a smart guy. Asta's not a genius. He's literally by Tabata ranked dumbest member of the Black Bulls. He doesn't have to be a smart guy to be a mature guy. You got to keep that in mind. And he's really come a long ways. Oh crap, where was I? I need to catch up. I'm way behind. We're already 2.5, or we're almost 3 hours into the stream, and I gotta end it at some point. Okay, where was I? I'm hoping for a huge 1v1, but I would love to see a 1v1 battle. I think the Dark Disciples are the perfect people for like showing off like big battles right now. Like if Asta should be able to 1v1, I think a Dark Disciple level character, and that should be kind of like, oh well, maybe like two of them are like a struggle for a captain, kind of like in a really good spot, or maybe like one of them is kind of like a struggle for a captain, and all it really takes is like Asta and to take on one of them. I think the Dark Disciples need to really be in a spot that makes them strong and like a fight, but not overwhelming. Because like I don't think that because the Dark Triad should be the big characters that are group fights right now, but I still want to see like smaller fights that lead up. Like I think a Dark Triad should be smaller arcs, like a 20 arc kind of like piece where it's a battle for some city they gotta take. Oh well, who's the bad guy? It doesn't have to be Dark Triad. Maybe it's one of the Dark Disciples, or maybe like two or three of them. I think those are where they're perfect, and it's actually one of the things that I have a gripe about for Fairy Tail is the Albereth arc. We saw, some of the Spriggan 12 had their own kind of group. They had their own members that were like their own unit. Because we know that a lot of them had their own foot soldiers that were just, they all had their own design to some of the guys that they brought with them, some of the nameless foot soldiers. And then some of them had their own kind of, handpicked members. They weren't utilized a lot, which is one of the things I'm hoping that Black Clover does with the Dark Disciples. And I think Fairy Tail kind of missed an opportunity for to kind of use some of the like smaller characters to be like, oh, well, they have, because like Mira got some, like that was really cool. I wish that they did more of that with with each of the Spriggan's members. I mean, they could still kind of be utilized a little bit, maybe in a good way. I don't know. We don't know if any of the Spriggan are going to play much of a role in the 100 Years quest. I mean, they could. Half of them are still alive, but we'll see. I'm hoping that with the Dark Disciples a lot. On Asta versus Yuno eventually. Me too. I'm really hoping to really see a fight between them. Maybe it'll be a really good part like to kind of settle some tension. Maybe have like a really good character fight between them later on, like during this whole thing. Like maybe they're beefing over something, and then it's like we need to settle things right now. We need to have a fight and kind of get it, settle some steam. We'll see. Fire Force Arthur about to get a new. Oh yeah, Arthur's getting a new sword. I'm actually really interested in that. I'm pretty hyped. I really wish that. I want to reread the series and then get back to reviews. I really wish that I was caught up enough that I could have felt like I could have done chapters and reviews on that, because that was really cool. I liked that. Felt like he was going to win, but he ended up losing. Like he not only got like the plasma mantle, he got a plasma like addition to his power, but he also got like the great sword and stuff, and he still lost, which was really cool, which builds up something for him to overcome in the future, which I really like. I really like that part for Arthur, and I'm really looking forward to him getting a new sword, him progressing, and I really like the idea. It's like the further in his delusions that he is, the stronger he is. I really like that. I think that's where his character is going to really stand out for someone like Black Star. There was a big bar to set for his character, and I think he's perfectly going down that line while still feeling distinctive about himself. I think that Witch's Forest could drag Lord. Yes, I'm really hoping we revisit the Witch's Forest. I'm really hoping we revisit the Witch's Forest. Maybe that's where Vanica will play. And it's like, well, Vanica can 1v1 the Witch Queen. That would be great. Because it would also hype up the Witch Queen, but also show Vanica. And maybe, the 1v1, they're pushing back, but Vanica's winning in the end. And it's more of pull that we got to save the Witch Queen and the witches, and they need to come back in. We got to save them, because also it would put them on their side. It would have an alliance, because here's the idea: we have the Heart Kingdom allied with the Clover Kingdom. The Diamond Kingdom mostly has fallen. We don't know who's left. We don't know what remains of them, but we know Mars is still alive. Well, we assume so. We haven't seen him dead. Mars is an ally now. Mars can become part of the allied with the Clover Kingdom. They defeat the Spade. Put or at least maybe someone in charge that is an ally, and then unite them. And obviously, unite all the kingdoms, and then, that's when you can start doing stuff off the continent. And then, after that point, because at that point you're going to need the Heart Queen, or the Witch Queen on your side. That could be a really good one. It doesn't have to be a long one, like a 20 chapter battle. Like I said, you could have like a whole part where it's a battle to defend, or rescue a place, like in the Heart or the Witch. I keep saying Heart Queen. The Witch Queen, and it would put them on their side, but also it would be like, oh, well, now we got a lot of magic tools, because we know witches can make magic tools. You have that bring on there, and then you get the, it would be a really cool display as well. It would hype up also one of the Dark Triad, logically, because we know the Witch Queen is very powerful, and a character that, again, would be like, oh yeah, she could beat, logically, it'd be fair for her to beat, a character like that. And you could do it with someone like Marileona, who's really powerful, but I don't think the fandom would really like seeing Marileona just fodderized like that just for power stick. I think that a lot of people know, like, we know how powerful the Witch Queen is, but I don't think a lot of people really care too much about her character to really kind of be like, Oh man, I can't believe it. Oh, I'm gonna miss her. I think because Marilyn is popular. I think people would be mad. I'd be mad. The Witch Queen though. Plus, I like my theory of like the idea that Zeno is bone magic, Vanika's blood magic, and Dante's flesh magic, and it'd be like them combined could make a body for Megicula, and then it'd be really cool because it'd be two blood witches going against each other. That'd be so sick. Could you imagine that? Wait, let's see, Magic Region. Yeah, they need to. I think they need to get them. There's gonna be a buy two one free for manga at Barnes and Nobles right now. I know it went through Christmas. Maybe they're doing another one. They usually have manga sales because they know manga sells really well. I need to get. I still need to get that new bookcase. When I was home and I was visiting my family, I went out to see. My mom had all this stuff that she was buying for furniture, and I saw the bookshelf, and I was like, I should have taken it with me. I get a new car though. Some dude totaled my car this week. I actually got some dude rear-ended me, and my car got totaled. So I got to get a new car in the next week, and I got to get all my insurance stuff all sorted out. And I got to figure out whether I'm really hoping that my insurance pays off the full amount I had left on my loan. I think I'm still gonna have some left over, which is gonna really bother me because then I'm gonna have money left over on that. And I think I gotta get. I gotta get my. I think I talked to somebody from loan people. I think they'll be like, well, technically an auto loan anymore, and then like the amount I had like a system set up like the warranty will pay off part of it, and then I think I could set it up to be like instead of being like the percentage of the total, it'll be like percentage of what's left over. So I'm hoping by that point it's like instead it's like like $30 or something $30 or $40 a month, and then I could set up to do another car loan and then get another car. Really bummed out about that. That's why I've been really bummed this week about that. So I think anybody that can relate and understands. It makes it if it wasn't for the fact that I needed a car to get to work, and if I could just like logically ride a bike to work, I would. But fortunately, I can't. I think I'm like 15, 20 miles away from where I work, so I need a car. So I got to get another one. I got to go through all the paperwork again. Anybody who's bought a car, he knows that car dealerships are annoying. Gonna try and make it pretty quick and simple this time. I've been looking at like ones to pick so I can get in and be like, this is the one I want. I don't want all these fancy extra things. Like I'll take like the tire rotations and oil change package, and I'd like gap insurance. Other than that, nothing. Just give me the straight car and like those small additions. I'm gonna be really agitated the next couple days, and that's why I didn't do a video on Tuesday. I was really bummed out. My biggest claim on Black Clover is how the Wizard King came back. You can't be mad about that. It was set up. It was set up on how it worked. That head, the thing on his forehead, the symbol. Ask Broku. Broku knows about it. It's a Nordic symbol for something. I can't remember what it was. He told me about this earlier, but it's like a symbol that pretty much, if you knew what it was, you know that it meant that it had something to do with him being revived. As well as the fact when he died, it was given its own panel showing crumbling away, so we knew it was significant. And he's a time mage, so it makes sense. It was logical. As much as it was like it would have been impactful for him to die, it's still impactful because he's not powerful anymore. And even though he's still around, it's the fact that they don't have his power right now that is really important. Samurai 8 sucks. I don't agree. I think it just kind of like it's been set up really. I can understand why people like it. I think it as long as it doesn't get canceled, it'll get good. I think it's just I think that Kishimoto is taking a while to really get things established. And I think it's the patience and how fast paced a lot of the current shonen are that a lot of people aren't okay with. He's taking his time with a lot of stuff, and I think a lot of people just aren't patient, which I can get. Again, I think it would work a lot better with an anime. When Samurai 8 gets, if it gets an anime rather, I think it'll do a lot better. I don't think it sucks. I think I can understand why people don't like it, but at the same time, I'm not hype about it. I enjoy it to a degree. I can enjoy Samurai and really just be like, this is fine. I think the main character is cool. I like the plot and the premise. I like the designs. But again, yeah, I can understand why some people like it. I think it takes too long to get established for sure. I can agree with that. I still want and Noelle to be in Jump Force. So Noelle, I want Noelle. I think what should have been in it, and I say that because I get All Might as a popular character. I like All Might. His moveset is too similar to Toguro. I don't like the idea that they introduced Yuno and Deku or Asta and Yuno at the same time. I don't understand why they wouldn't bring in their rivals at the same time. And out of all the DLC, so I've played all the DLC characters, and actually, if you played it, that one boss Prometheus, he's actually like I looked at the three of them. I don't remember the character's name, but the three original characters of the game, their designs are kind of meh. But I did think that Prometheus's moves were pretty cool. I liked his moves. I won't lie. But out of all the DLC, Kaiba is easily the best DLC character. I won't argue. I will. That's not an argument. Kaiba is the coolest. I think he's the most unique. I loved Kaiba's moveset. Other than that, I think Bakugo's is pretty good. I like Grimjow's. Madara's kind of okay. I don't like All Might's. I get why his character's cool. I think Yuno should have been in there, and especially because Yuno's character would have been a very unique fighting style for that. And like one of his moves, they could have easily put in because like if you've played Toshiro, one of his moves that he shoots like icicles, you could have easily just like kind of like use that same the same kind of like way that you built that to do Yuno's like arrows and stuff. You could, I mean, like his moveset is easy. You could have just taken his moveset from Quartet Knight to put it in there, make his Spirit Dive, it does Spirit Storm, and then for the rest of it, you just do his moves from do a lot of his moves from Quartet Knights. I don't think it would have been hard, but whatever. I think it's foreshadowed that there was a whole panel mark. Yeah, it was foreshadowed entirely that that mark was important. And from what Brokus told me, if you knew what that symbol was, you knew what it meant. Like if you did the research beforehand, you would have known, which I think is cool. Like it's one of those things. It's like you can either pay attention and know that like it getting its own panel was significant. Like this obviously was a thing. It was a big thing. But also, like, he's a time mage. It's logical that he would have something like this set up. And he's very powerful. He's a Paragon character, so obviously him having some super move like this makes sense. We already saw he can use time magic to undo stuff on himself. Logically, someone experienced and big as him would have something like this set up. But also, if you just knew what the symbol was, you know that, he's going to come back because I knew this thing. Which is really cool. I like that if you did your research, you know this. I don't think it brings down the emotional weight. So here's the thing about a character death. I think is the most important. I don't think it's most important that just a character dies and they're gone. The most important thing for me for a character death is how other characters react, and you see the weight that the idea of this character dying does on them. Like for instance, Mishima's done a fair amount of character deaths that were fake out. I can understand why some people be okay with it, but for instance, Juvia's death, death quote unquote, in the Alvarez arc when Envil, pretty much made it so they had to, were going to kill each other, and then they tried to kill themselves, so they didn't have to kill each other, and it looked like Juvia was dead. Even though Juvia wasn't dead, and she logically, the way that, she didn't die because, Wendy and Carla are always grouped up together. Carla, would logic, she would, I saw this happening with my ability, and Wendy's a healer. As long as they just didn't overuse, that'd be fine. Logically, yeah, this is why she didn't hide, because these two are obviously a really good way to prevent that with future sight and healing. But that was a thing that really pushed Gray in a lot of ways for his characters, and really was the step that now he's the only thing keeping them from being from being together is Gray wants to be strong enough to prevent that from ever happening again, which is a really, really, really big thing for his character. I can understand why it's like a character death. A death needs to have weight of, when they die. But that's the difference. If it's death, they're dead or gone. They're confirmed dead. They shouldn't come back. There should be very, very, very specific kind of like cases of set up why a character who is confirmed dead is dead and comes back somehow. If a character is believed dead, that's different. If a character is believed dead, then if it's set up, it makes sense of why it's there, then you can't complain, and especially if there's like a lot of character development and stuff that comes out of it. I don't agree with that Carrot for Straw Hat, but I agree that Carrot should be a Straw Hat. I like Carrot, even though she's a little furry rabbit. I think she's an entertaining character, and I think she's shown herself to be capable. I wonder how Sakura or Noah versus Uraka would go. That's not a fight. Uraka can't fight at all. I mean, the most she's really done is fight like really weak students in a no stakes match. Noelle would dominate her. I mean, Noelle could kill most people in My Hero Academia. I mean, that's not a fight. Yeah, Noelle would mauler. Which is unfortunate again because like Araki has like a really good power. Kishimoto's probably collecting his check. I think he just has a plan for Samurai 8. I just don't think that it's because he's taking all this time because I think that I think he knows what he's doing and he has the position and the cred that he can take his time and that I think the end product for Samurai 8 will be good. I think that he just is taking too long for things that shouldn't have taken a long time. Which again, I understand fully the idea of it's something's being dragged out. But I think for him, for somebody who I think he's fully capable, I think he's proven himself. I think people just need to give him the benefit of the doubt. That's the thing that I would say about Samurai 8. Vegeta says Gallium to destroy Earth. So that's the thing. So I've said that. I've said that I don't take a lot of statements at face value unless there are things to back them up. We didn't really see a full planet-destroying attack until we got to Frieza. As far as we know, Vegeta was just overhyping himself, and we know that Dragon Ball characters overhype himself a lot. I don't know how not to go against Cell or Beerus. So Cell should logically be able to destroy a planet pretty easily. So it kind of comes down with Cell. Not to currently. I would say not to when he gets the Dragon God status. I don't think he can take Beerus because Beerus still should be able to kind of just like flick the planet. It would go away. He's too powerful. And unless Mishima decides to kind of like get Natsu into some ridiculous ranges later on. But like where he's kind of should be at when he gets to kind of like Dragon God level, and any of the Dragon Gods are kind of in that world-ending kind of aspect. We already know, and where they're so again like they're hyped at world-ending, but we've already know that they should be around Acnologia level, and Acnologia is already around that level, and we know not only from like stuff he's done, but also the fact that he should scale off of the Phoenix, which was literally going to scorch the whole planet clean. And the Fairy Tale planet is much larger than real life Earth. And planet level, from where it's set up, is generally Earth size. That's where we kind of set the bar at. I think Julius came back as better the way Makarov. So Makarov's was also made sense. I don't like that he came back. I'm okay with it only because Mishima's logic makes sense. You had two immortals cheat out the god of life and death that kind of like fucked with the boundary between the realm of the living and realm of the dead. And he said that he wanted something significant to happen. I wish it wasn't. I would have been fine if it was anybody else, but I get that it the idea behind it. I'm very happy the way he worked it out with Wraith, the way that it had some form of impact later on. I can understand why someone would be not happy with that, but I kind of see Makarov not really kind of fully dying as kind of a meme, because Mishima had said before he likes doing character deaths. He doesn't like to bring characters back when they're established 100% dead. The only time he's done it with Makarov, and he said that was a special case, and that was why, because of Mavis and Zareth bucking with the boundaries of life and death. I don't agree with you that Fairy Tail's trash. I've done a lot of videos going over why I really like it. There's a lot of videos to come, and there will always be videos explaining things I like better. I agree that Julius was better set up because it was definitely something that he always planned. I think that was something that Tabata always planned. I can agree on that. I think it was handled better, but again, I don't agree that I don't think Makarov's was bad. I think it could have been handled better, but I'm all right with it because I understand Mishima's logic. Yang X-Blake sucks. I agree. Yeah, there's some issues with the Ruby writing and the fandom's super toxic. Yeah, I can understand that. I finally had the Tenka's wife named Hana. Yeah, it's a pretty normal one. She'd add something on top of that, meaning like flour or something. Kind of add extra piece of that. Like what is that? Yomi Hana. So you got demon in there or something like that, or Shin or something. I know there's a lot of them. Constant ask. I'm not even gonna acknowledge that. I've done a million videos on my channel. Carrot, you can go check it out. I've done a bunch of videos going over why a lot of these claims are false. You can go look at like Urza's win-loss record. I don't agree. I've gone over the controversial parts for a character people say are aspals. I don't agree with them, and I give straight, cold-cut pieces of why they are not aspals. You can go look, my friend. I can tell you this right now. Again, go look it up. It's on my channel. The videos exist. I'm going to scroll past all the comments because I don't agree with you. And again, I'm not going to explain why them because the videos exist on my channel. I'm not going to go over stuff that I've already made long videos explaining. He definitely he's taking risk. I mean, he kills people off. It's not like it happens all the time, but he's done it. I mean, literally, the Tartarus arc started out with Jackal killing the entire Magic Council, and literally like had a huge terrorist attack that rendered their government like fucked. And then they had to have the entire like Wizard Saint groups like brought back to be the new council. Like for real. Well, do you like it? Yeah, I definitely like Eden Zero. Eden Zero's good. Again, any parts that you wonder, like, oh, well, Rex, what did you take on something like that because she's Urza or Stinks running? Throw on my channel. I explain to you why I like them, why I don't agree at all with a lot of people and their general like hate on it. I don't think they paid attention. I don't think they really know what an ass pull is. I think that they just speak out of their ass for a sheep mentality because Fairy Tail has gotten in the spark kind of like Bleach where it's popular to hate on it, which I think is stupid. Yeah, I don't really like Eden Zero. Yeah, I don't agree with you, Carrot for Straw Hat. Again, go look at my channel. I don't agree at all that Rebecca's a better character than Lucy too. Lucy has developed a lot. Lucy's come such a long way. I mean, at the start, she was selfish. She didn't think that much about others. She couldn't control her spirits well. She could barely use her magic, her spirits. She couldn't even close them. She summoned them. They left on their own accord. At least she couldn't force closure gates. She was a huge scrub. Look how powerful she is now. Especially she also helped fix the racial issues between humans and celestial spirits. There's no more issues between them anymore that were caused by people who treated them like tools instead of people. Again, go look at my channel. I'm not going to go much in responses because they exist if you want to go know why I don't agree with them. Yeah, a lot of Fairy Tail and Black Clover haters are kind of the same. They have the very sheep-minded mentality. Urza vs. Irene was good. I think it was set up. It made sense. Urza had to get to Rosemary somehow. The side of Irene that was still sane and still loved her daughter had to be in there. So otherwise, again, how did Urza get to Rosemary? The only other way would be somehow Zareth, but again, it'd be like, well, why would Zareth care? If Zareth cared, his curse would have killed her. There's no logical way other than Irene. Irene is the only one logically that she got to Rosemary. Otherwise, we already know that she would have killed Urza or thrown her in a ditch somewhere and she would have died. And if you said, oh, well, she threw her in a ditch and some character found her and brought her Rosemary, well, then you got a whole new character you got to explain. I think it made more sense the way that it was set up. And we already know that Irene was absolutely batshit crazy. Suddenly, yeah, I've seen the 70s thing, and I thought it's sad what they've done. Natsu would have died if he killed Zareth. Well, yeah. Well, I think that Lucy messing with the book after the point to heal Natsu and kind of like undo it, like with cheat Aetherius, how the cheating way how Aetherius worked. I think that it got linked to her, which is why when Zareth died, Natsu didn't die. Because logically, living magic, every single creature that lives because they're linked to Zareth died. That's why every single Aetherius demon shouldn't exist anymore. The only way I could kind of see it is like if they're in their book form, they're kind of just books, and you have to use living magic to bring them into life. That's the only way I could really logically see any of Zareth's demons still being out there somehow. Again, on Carrot, that I don't agree at all that the writing is bad. I think there's a lot of I think that there Lightning Flame Dragon mode. Natsu didn't use Lightning Flame Dragon mode against Zero at all. What are you talking about? Again, dude, I don't know if you've watched or read Fairy Tail. High School DxD surprise. High School DxD is silly, but it's fun. Yeah, well, Lightning Flame Dragon mode I agree with. It's Lightning Flame Dragon mode, so it's consistent. We know that Dragon Lacrima were transferable. Every single hybrid mode exists because of interactions between a Dragon Slayer and a Dragon Slayer who has a Dragon Lacrima. Every single hybrid has been through issue of a Dragon slaying Lacrima. We already knew from Ivan they were transferable, but also the fact that Dragon Lacrima were new. They were a new concept that doesn't have anything to do with the old rules of Dragon Slayers that was established when in their first din. That's why they were first gen, and when Cobra and Cobra talked about how they're the new gen, first gen is old and they don't matter anymore. That was this whole thing. He explicitly said that Dragon Slaying Lacrimas were new. 3 is literally just 4 and 5, or sorry, 1 and 2. 3 is literally just 1 and 2. 4 is literally just 2 but put in an inanimate object, and 5 is new and we don't know anything about them. What? I don't know what you're talking about. He has all the his kids with all the girls. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about, Carrot Dude. Let's see. We know Igneel talked to him, and I guess it's headcanon, but something makes sense. What are you talking about with Igneel? I don't know where you're going with that one. Let me see. What did DXD end up falling? I'll get there. True longness. I don't know what that means. Zack Knight. I think Mishima Aro went back. Wait, Mishima Aro went back and said the case. I would take back all I said. I don't know. No, Carrot Dude. I don't agree at all with right now with what you're going off of. Nazi's power-ups are set up. So we know from the start, Dragon Slayers can eat their elements. And here's an example. We knew that they couldn't eat. We know they didn't eat outside elements of their own early on. And it's like, that doesn't make sense because we saw them eat Ethereum. We didn't know why they shouldn't eat their elements. That's the thing. It said, well, we don't know why. We saw it when the Tower of Heaven. Ethereum was powered up multiple different magics, but it did include fire. Natsu took it in. It was dangerous for him. It caused him immense pain. It made, he was vomiting. He was sick from it. He overcame it, and then he got a power up from it. But after that, it had him with constant and frequent narcolepsy for days, and he was unable to fight. It left him in a state that he wasn't able to operate or do anything normally. It had a huge drawback. It wasn't like a crippling thing. I can't do this again, or it'll blow my arm off or something. It definitely had a side effect that if you did this and you were unsuccessful at it, then you were going to die. Because if Natsu say he did the same thing. He fought some guy and he ate the Therion, he did the same thing, got the power up, and he didn't win in that instance. The time that he had this power up, he passes out, doesn't have the power anymore when the side effects fully taken. The guy's got days of just to kill him. He's also vulnerable for the whole time the side effects are in place for days for someone if they wanted to kill him. Again, and then it's like renders them unable to do anything. It definitely has side effects. It was silly for people to say it didn't. What? Yet he gets new body from Big Red and Loli Dragon Girl? What are you talking about? Loli Dragon Girl? You talking about Wendy? Wendy's a healer. Someone said Ellis was a plot hole because of the Dragon Slayers went from 400 years. Yeah, but what is the Dragon Slayer? So the Dragon Slayers were it was a fake thing. They didn't actually send them that way. That whole plan was not real. They went in there to look for Dragon Slayers, not the Dragon Slayers that specifically were part of the Dragon Slaying plan. The Dragon Slayers in general. The 7 Dragon Slayers that were involved in the 5 Dragon Slayers, because it was Gachio, Wendy, Natsu, Sting, and Rogue. Out of the 7 we saw, Cobra and Laxus were Lacrima based. It was Dragon Slaying in general. It's not a plot hole. They were going for dragons in general, or Dragon Slayers in general. But that wasn't their actual thing. They actually just Shaga saw the future, and she saw magic falling out of the world, or being drained out of the world, and what looked like the end of the world. And they sent their Exceed eggs over to Earthland because they wanted them to live on, because they thought they were all going to die. They just don't know when. 2 other creators dead. Oh, High School DxD, yes. Or no, High School of the Dead, yeah, sad. Issei becomes a dragon demon king with all his kids and all the girls. I mean, yeah, he's a harem main character. That's fine. Tournament arc. See the Black. We wouldn't get a Black Clover tournament arc in a long time. The only way I could see kind of something similar is if Austin Crew maybe got captured and it was like a gladiator thing, maybe in the Spade Kingdom. Maybe they had to become gladiators, survive, or something, and it was just like a expectation for them to kind of be like, haha, well, we'll see how you do. I don't know, Hibana lick it. But I mean, I guess at that point, we already know they'd want to utilize them, so they probably would take them. Maybe something like that later in the future. That'd be really cool. I think it would really be unfair at this point. Asta's still captain, so Noel unlocked. I mean, they should be able to run that very too. Each squad picks 5 members. I mean, maybe something I think if they're going to do another tournament, it should be maybe in a different country, maybe in a different land that they get wrapped up in. I don't know if Clover Kingdom wins. So I think it'd be cooler than that, because I think that'd be neater than just another Royal Magic Knights tournament or something. Don't expect anything from Crunchyroll. Yeah, Crunchyroll's ass. For Black Bulls, I'd go with Asa, Noel, Charmy, and Nero. Now with Austin Fly, it's sort of be cool if it makes it anti-magic bow. I don't want him to have ranged, because that kind of breaks away from what makes Asta fair. So true, my team's overrated. It's overrated. I think the fan. So no. So the My Hero Academia fans aren't toxic. It's Boku no Hero Academia fans are toxic. It's been established. The bad ones go in the Boku no Hero Academia fandom. If you see a bad fan, you call them a BNHA fan. The good ones are MHA fans. I've already supported in the Black Clover anime. Wait, why? But it does not. It does deserve at least one. Dude, it's been really good lately. It's been really consistent. I like Deku when he fights, but as an MC, I find him boring. That's fine with me. My Academia reminds me of Naruto. My Academia fans remind me of Naruto. I don't know. I don't think the bad part of that fandom, I don't think is of the Naruto fandom. I don't think it's as bad as the Boku no Hero fans. Most Farmer than Raka. Yeah, a million times better. Favorite Pokemon in Sealed and Short, now returning Pokemon. In the new gen, I think of the new gen, I really, really like Appleton. That little pie dragon. I love him. I love him so much. I can't stand I like a lot of them. Oh my god, I'm trying the new bug one. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Pokemon Psychic Bug. It's the big ladybug. I can't remember what it's called. I really like that one too. I think that one's really cool. That was definitely one of my favorites. I'm trying to remember what it's called. But it evolves into what? Blip Bug? It's the final evolution of that. I'm going to look it up right now. Blip Bug. I got to catch up because I got to end the stream. It's been going for 3 hours and I don't want to go that much longer. What's that final evolution for Blip Bug? It's Blip Bug, Dottler, and then, Orbeetle. That one I really like too. I'd say it's between Orbeetle and I like Orbeetle's Gigantamax form. It's super big form better, but I think I like Appleton more as a Pokemon. I just really like the idea. I love it. It's especially because it's like what, like less than 2 feet tall, so it could literally live in your house like a house cat. That'd be awesome. Strongest captain, of course, is in fact the strongest captain is Marileona. Thought has been the best in terms of writing female characters in years. I mean, in Shonen Jump. Fairy Tail has better written female characters. Urza, I think, is a better written character than anybody currently in in Black Clover. She's fantastic. I don't care what anyone says. Have you read I've read parts of Vagabond. I'm not caught up on Vagabond. I'm kind of turned away from it, not because I don't think it's good, because I know that the author pretty much, it doesn't seem like he's going to ever get back to writing it. I know he hasn't written a chapter in years, and it looks like he's written an entirely different manga. And I got invested in Berserk a long time ago, so I can wait with Berserk. I mean, Vagabond I'll read eventually, but I'm just not too invested in it right now. Berserk, personally, if it came down to the two of them with similar situations, I'd be more drawn to Berserk because I love fantasy. I love the whole layout for it. Nuke Soul to the Apocalypse. I don't know what that means. Black Clover females better than Naruto females. I mean, that's fact. Yeah, I don't like Soul either. Twip is a toxic Pokemon. Twip. I haven't seen it. Oh, YouTuber. I was like, what? YouTube, Pokemon. 5D is my favorite. I really like GX, which is Isekai. Oh my god, how far am I behind? Am I really far behind? Big Rex, Spade Nation. Oh no, if I had to pick, I'd go Heart Kingdom. I'd go Heart Kingdom if it came down to it. Let's see. Okay, I'm not that far behind. Fuck. I was like, am I super far behind? Because I remember mentioning something. Soul, I remember talking about an hour ago. I live in Fairy Tail Universe. Yeah, Fairy Tail Universe is pretty good. Yeah, but the risk is what if you end up playing don't have magic? That's kind of what I'd be like. Pokemon Universe though would be pretty good. Berserk World. Oh, be careful. You're gonna get eaten or raped. I get into Fairy Tail, which is the better. I'm gonna get into Fairy Tail, which is the better version of it. The manga, so the manga is much better. The thing about the anime that's really good, there are two arcs that are. No. There's one arc that's canon. There's one arc that you can kind of take with a grain of salt, whether it's canon or not. It's kind of like Saw. It's arguably canon, but it's not one I'd be like, you don't need to watch it. The Starry Sky arc, the Starry Sky arc is canon. It's got a good story. The animation isn't the best, and it doesn't have a lot of great fight scenes. It has a good story though, which why I would recommend it. It's got a lot of cool character designs. It's definitely one of those, like I said, it's not one of those ones where it's man, I can't wait to see all these. It's got some alright fights. I will say the fights aren't the greatest because it's a filler. It was an arc to get it the manga further ahead, but Mashima made it canon, and he wrote it out and he liked it, so he made it canon. So it is canon. It's one that I would recommend because it's fun. It does have some impact on the story, so I would recommend it. Both movies are canon, and Acnology is back. One of the bad guys' backstory is canon, and it's in the anime. So I have a chart. So if you want. If you want Will Newton, at me on Twitter. I'll give you my chart, and it's where I would recommend going through Fairy Tail as the best ride that gives you the most out of the story. Because there's like Gray got a back there's a part where the characters early on Gray he gets a flashback that's telling part of the story. He later got a spin-off that tells like the extension of that story up until the point where he joins the Fairy Tail Guild. So I think if you read the flashback part of the normal manga, and then before getting back to the next chapter, you put the rest of his spin-off story in there, it really enhances the flashback, tells a lot about him, and it really it makes it better for his character, makes it more understandable. It shows you way more of why he got to this guild, why he cares about the guild, and just him as who he is. If you at me on Twitter, I will give you that chart, and I would recommend the manga. I recommend watching the Starry Sky arc. Recommend watching both movies, and then if some of the most relatively the spinoffs are canon. I think only one of the spinoffs is not canon because it's like a what if world. But other than that, yeah, manga for sure. It's really good. Don't listen to Carrot for Stride. It's a really good series. Speedwagon is D waifu. I like Speedwagon. I like his hat. I know the secret technique of running away. Yeah, the Joestar secret. Continuous ignition flame, dragon sword flash. I'm trying to think of more powers recently as well. I get you. Do you think that Jack will defeat Oh, he's gonna beat Hercules. I absolutely think he's gonna beat Hercules. Hercules is a really cool character. Jack the Ripper, like, is cool, but also the way he's handled, he's really neat. And plus, like, it's already been set up that Hercules' power will kill him, so it's got to be Jack the Ripper. Light and darkness are one and the same. They got to be of balance. What quirk do you think Deku would be someone to counter Asta? I don't really know. It would have to be some way to disarm him. I mean, really, I don't know what else he's going to have. His dad can breathe fire. It's a pretty basic power. And it's not any of it's fire. Maybe it's like a fake one. It's like a fake power he used to kind of like, get a cover. I know that there's some fan theories about Deku's dad. Gogeta, Vegeta versus Omnimon. See, again, there's the question of like where Vegeta would be. I know that he's stronger than Broly, and Broly like broke part in space, but Omnimon is straight scalable to universal beings that did mess with universes. I'm gonna lean towards Omnimon. To be perfectly honest. And Digimon is actually a more powerful series than Dragon Ball. They have way more like universal and multiversal threat characters by the truckload. Like Zed Millenniumon was like gonna implode the entire multiverse, not the digital world. It's like there are multiple digital universes, but also every single human universe as well. It's in one of the I don't know if it's in one of the games or mangas, but I know it's canon. Do you mean God Dimension of Black Clover? I don't know. I don't know a lot about Norse mythology. So if you look up Broken no Hero, either look him up on Twitter or add him on Twitter. Or sorry, if you look him on YouTube, look at his channel, or ask him on Twitter. He knows a lot about the Norse mythology. He does a lot of like diving into stuff that might be possible based off of what he knows about Norse mythology and what Tabata has established in the series. So go check out his channel. I can only give you stuff that he's told me, so I would rather recommend go looking at what he's doing, because when it comes to that, I can give you theories of stuff that I can kind of speculate, but when it comes to stuff like that, where it's stuff that, like, Tabata is doing this possibly because of stuff he's researched, that's, like, especially with, like, Norse mythology, go to Broku. He's going to be the guy on that one. When Asta, oh my god, I just realized there's a rip in my chair. No. Damn it. Oh well. I gotta get a new chair in a couple months anyway. Asta's ready to give his grimoire back to... That was a huge character part, because he's like, it doesn't belong to me, I have to give it back. And I love that part. Gonna get me emotional thinking about that. Asta's discussion, Marileona is great. But I like that too. King Kong versus Black Divider. Oh, I'm gonna give it to King Kong. Well, I'm gonna give it to King Kong, because right now, the thing about it is... So... When you do cross-universe stuff, there's a thing called energy equalization, where it's like if things are similar, you kind of treat them like the same, kind of like magic and chakra. hockey kind of like the way that hockey's described, it can kind of fall under that kind of like power source thing, that kind of like natural world power source, kind of like magic. Logically, then it could dispel the hockey, so it's kind of hard. Um, I'll give it. I might give it to Luffy for now because even if you cut it away, Luffy's still up. Well, no, because then Asta's he's like Luffy's weak to cutting attacks. Damn it! I'm thinking about this. Well, I think the shockwave from it hitting in general should still beat Asta. I'm gonna give it to Luffy for now, but it won't surprise me if Asta passes him up, and that's under the idea because energy equalization is a standard in cross universe things. I'll give it. I'll give it to Luffy for now. Oh my god, I'm at 3.5 hours. God damn it! I gotta finish the stream. I gotta hurry up. What's up, True Sage? How's it going, man? Nah, man, Heart Kingdom, like I said. My man, Black Clover character tier. My characters, Marileona and Zora are my favorite. Two Bloodbenders. Noise. Yeah, that'd be really cool. Two blood mages fighting Dante. Where did I see that? Natsu. Naruto and Sasuke versus Zeref. I don't think they could beat Zeref. Zeref could stop time. He could instantly kill them. He can soul rip. He can straight put a brain-eating virus inside of their head, or a flesh-eating virus inside their brain. They can't hit him with like kunai and stuff to do some trickery thing because he'll disintegrate it. Zeref has so many things. So what's crazy is Zeref's arsenal is huge. Zeref has a lot of things, and you can look at stuff he's shown, but also we know for a fact, specifically black magic, he's mastered. It's not magic, it's specifically black magic and fairy tale he's mastered. And on top of all these things, like, Zeref is super OP. The only reason he wasn't able to really use these against Natsu is, one, Natsu can burn magic, but also, two, he stopped doing them because he wanted to fight Natsu specifically. He wanted to have a fun fight with his brother. Let's see. Dante has Inferno Magic. That's my prediction. Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's a lot of speculations you can kind of give. I like the idea he's got flesh magic. I like the idea of blood, flesh, and bone kind of combining to give Megicula a body. Because maybe they'd be like, well, Megicula doesn't, like, a human body is not enough for him. He needs to have a bigger body. Rax, how do you stop getting nervous when talking at a job interview? So I still get, the first time I had a job interview, I was super nervous. I think the second time I just had to, you just had to grit your teeth. You gotta realize that if you're nervous, they're gonna kind of think that about you. You gotta just get comfortable. Personally, I think YouTube actually did a really good job for me of talking when it came to that, because early in my videos, like even my first video, I was shaking after, just because I was nervous. I was very nervous after that. And my first stream, I was nervous. A lot of my early videos, I was just very nervous. Like my first job interview, I think just getting to the point where at the end of the day, you're just talking. You just got to get comfortable. You got to get comfortable. You got to be confident, and you got to be like. And when I will give this advice. When it comes to a job interview, if they ask you a question and you don't know the answer, you would say, I would talk to my supervisor or something. I'm just giving you something right now in general. Like, I don't know what your job is or what job you're going for, but this is my advice. If they said, oh, if you were in this situation, what do you do? And he said, well, personally, I wouldn't know what to do in this because I wouldn't be experienced in this. I would ask somebody that knows, or I would consult a manual of some kind. I don't know what the job you're going for, but something like that, where that way they would at least know that even if you don't know, you don't panic, and it's like, oh, well, he would figure out the idea of find somebody that does know or get help. That's a good thing. I will tell you that. I think a lot of, like, logically in that mindset, like whoever your interviewer would be like, at least you have that in mind of, especially like I know like managers and stuff like the idea that it's like, oh, you want to learn, you know that you're not panicking. The idea of asking for help is important because that comes with a lot of progress and skill and learning new things. What's some Talai? What is it? Al Malki. Are you sick? I saw the mask thing. I don't know if you're sick or not. I'm getting near the end of it. I've been going for 3.5 hours. I'm really hungry. Like, I haven't eaten at all today. I wasn't really that hungry for lunch, but dinner, I'm feeling it. I set up my stuff. I'm actually gonna make some homemade ramen. Today's my day for it. I usually have more easy foods on the weekend, so looking for that. Spirit of Zephyr's cutting power rivals not. So I still think that Spirit of Zephyr is an arrow. I still think it's an arrow setting up for a bow attack. Go look at my video for it. I did a video. I don't have time to explain it right now. I did a video for it though. I love Juvia. I also love Juvia. Prometheus was a bitch to fight. I haven't beaten the game actually because like the story isn't what I wanted. What I wanted for it. I think I'd be fine beating him. I just go Yuki. Like Yuki's so like powerful when you get combo set up. I usually went Yuki for combos and then also Kaiba. But then I would switch to Asta for melee attacks because then it's like, oh, I'm gonna keep my distance. Switch to Asta. Asta straight forehead on yours like melee. I don't agree. Like again, I don't agree with your stuff on your takes on Fairy Tail at all, Carrot. I've done the videos. If you want to know, I've done videos explaining them. You can ask me on Twitter. I will answer them. I'm trying to end the stream, so if you have any specific questions, either check the videos or ask me on Twitter because I'm trying to catch up on these comments and then I want to go eat. I'm very hungry. Yeah, agree to disagree, I guess. But if you got any questions, ask. Shinkai may get a birthmark, which increases power. I mean, that's good. You gotta have plans. You gotta have things planned out. Personally, and also I think Asta will get a spell to where the devil can come out of his body. I think he's gotta like communicate with him like by using key sensing and then like going into his swords, kind of like mentally. I want a spell called like Devil Overseer where he can search for places and stuff. That'd be kind of weird. I mean, I don't know how that would work with anti-magic. I think Dante's Inferno Magic. I know what you mean. I've seen stuff like that. I know what you mean because of like Dante's Inferno. Einstein down versus American Demon World. He would kill everybody. Rex, what's your take on Asta's ship in Black Clover? I mean, logically, it's Noel. I mean, because like Asta has like, a lot of ways. I think Noel and him make the most sense because you have a person who was born with no magic struggling versus a person who was born with 2 magic and can control it. And kind of they both were discriminated over these things. They kind of were on opposite ends of the spectrum, but both suffered similar problems. And they kind of overcame it with each other, which I like. Only a fool would pick. So I like Mimosa, but I think Noel is the better pick for Asta. I don't appreciate the Noel slander. I don't appreciate it either. I would definitely go with Noel, though. Anyway, I'm caught up. I appreciate everyone for showing up. Anybody left? Tell me, just in the last minutes, tell me what you guys would think about an idea like that with maybe having like a Patreon or maybe it's like $3 a month. We do like anime watch togethers or whatnot. Maybe we vote on the anime and then maybe like once a week we watch a couple episodes. Binge watch something, whether it's like a seasonal one or something that you guys always wanted me to watch, like JoJo. Like if you're like, Rax, we've decided we're gonna vote. We want you to watch JoJo. Then you come watch JoJo, or maybe you'll have a time slot. Maybe you have a couple, and it's like, oh, we're gonna watch 2 or 3 episodes of JoJo, and then 2 or 3 episodes of this, or maybe like a couple live readings of another series. Maybe not live readings. I think that would be a little bit too kind of stale for you guys, but you know what I mean. Tell me what you guys think about that. I'd probably only do like a $3 or $5 tier for that, just because. I want the idea for a Patreon because I think it would also get a little more interactive between me and and you guys, but also it'd be kind of a way to also be because obviously it would benefit me from like any of like the side cash, but also I like the idea that it'd be also more beneficial to you guys because it'd be like you guys are having more input on stuff I'm doing. It would help on both ends, and obviously like $2 or $3 would be kind of cheap, and I think it's better than super chats. Because, like, Super Chat's, like, part of it goes to YouTube. And it's more consistent. Because, like, with it, if it goes to a specific thing, I think it's easier and it's a lot more set up. You know where it's going instead of just, like, hey, here's a thing for a shout-out on a comment. You can still do that, but, it gives it a little bit more cooler of a thing. It's like, you're influencing stuff in there and for videos and stuff. I'll get it set up, but I still got to get some plans and things kind of, like, gone. Maybe I'll get it done by February. But... other than that, thanks everyone for showing up. I appreciate you guys all there. I think I'm 1 subscriber away from having 2,300. We're gonna be pushing towards the. Oh no, I'm right at it. 2,300. Sweet. Also, I got word back from the guy that's that is sending me my Natsu figure. So within the next 2 weeks, expect an unboxing video for it. Looking forward to that. Anyway, other than that, thanks guys. Thanks for showing up. Captain Merkel showed up right near the end. Damn it, Catherine. Always showing up near though. So anyway, yeah, come and hang out at some point. And other than that, comment on my videos, guys. Check it out. See if you want to come Can we recommend? Oh, of course. So that would be one of the things. So I think it would be like, just really quick. I think it'd be like a $1 tier where it's 2.3K, not 23,000. I think it'd be like $1 is just like, kind of like, oh yeah, thanks tier. Maybe I'll be like, oh, you can come to my. Maybe I'll make a Discord, and then it's like $1, you come to the Discord. Maybe like $3 is like, oh, we'll have a vote one where you gang up and it's like, oh, we'll have one slot where it's like a voted one, and then like $5 is like maybe like a second one where it's like we'll watch 2 or 3 episodes of it, and like that kind of like, and maybe like one where it's like, well, I don't think like anything above $5 would be like really much, because I don't think my time's worth that much, but something like that where it's like maybe a voted system. Maybe like a $3 one is like a recommend like an anime, and then we'll vote on it, and then it's like depending on how the votes, maybe it'd be like 4 series, maybe like 3 or 4 series, and it'd be like voted top episode gets 3 episodes, or maybe something like that, like top episode gets 3 episodes, second place gets 2 episodes, and then last 2 places each get 1 episode or something, and then we could all watch it. Or it'd be like, you cast your votes towards like, maybe it's all like a spot. It's like what is that altogether? What is that? Yeah, 3 episodes, 2 and 1. That's what is? Oh my god, how am I failing at numbers right now? 7. So it'd be like, oh well, maybe not 7. Maybe it'd be like, just do 7. 3 episodes, 2 episodes, 1. So maybe it could be like, oh, we want to use all 7 and we just binge watch, half of a season of JoJo or something. Because again, I know JoJo fans are super hype. So maybe it'd be something like that, or anything. I'll get it set up. Maybe I'll start looking into it tonight. I'll announce it on like Twitter. I'll probably like do a little video saying like, hey, if you want to come over to my Patreon, something like that. Maybe maybe I'll do that tonight. Maybe I'll set up a video and stuff. But something like that. I don't have merchandise, so I'm not gonna have like some crazy thing. I don't want to have some giant like $20 thing, like all this crazy promise stuff. I don't want to overset it to like, if I ever, I've seen YouTuber. I'm just wrapping up. I've seen like YouTubers and stuff. They have Patreons where they have like weird goals and like weird Patreon tier things where they don't end up delivering to guys. I've been hesitant about a Patreon because I don't know how many people would even want to come, but also, if I do Patreon, I want to have goals where I can deliver. I don't want to ever do stuff where I feel like I'm cheating you guys, and I don't want to ever do something where it feels like I'm not giving you guys a fair back for your amount. Like if I was like $20 for like I read a manga of something, $20 would be like I have to watch like a whole anime like thing within of your recommendation, and even logic, I'm not gonna watch like hentai or stuff unless it's like a lewd one that isn't like straight porn, like something that's like Mach and Key or Monster Musume would be in my list of things that I'd be like, okay, let's watch it together. Stuff that's straight hentai, no, it'd be kind of weird. I mean, unless you were straight like Rax, $100 for watching I don't know, something really weird. I'm trying to think of something. I don't know, some straight like deep in hentai. I'd be like, well, I mean, you gave me a lot of money, so I guess. But you know what I mean. It would have to be like, it'd have to be big for something like that. Even like Boku no Pico, but I mean that's like a meme one. But you know what I mean. Generally, it'd be like a couple dollars for maybe like a voting one. Maybe like a higher one is like I watch an episode of something once a week that is a straight Europe Pacific recommendation and whatnot. But you know what I mean. Anyway. Other than that, thank you very much. I'll put out a video. When I decide, and I'll put out a tweet on Twitter when I decide. But I'll get it set up. I just gotta figure out a way that it'll feel fair for you guys, and will still obviously be something that would benefit me. $100 for Bible Black. $100. I don't know what Bible Black is. I'm pretty sure I've heard of it, but I don't know. You give me $100 for Bible Black, we'll watch Bible Black. I mean, if somebody gave me $100 and said, Rax, for watching all of One Piece, I'd be like, I mean, you gave me $100, man, I gotta. But you know what I mean. How old am I? 25. Something like that. Something that's like a big donation that like I'm just like, you went well beyond what I would have asked, so I guess, man. Like something like that. Like crazy Kinmano. Like if Kinmano wanted me to read all of Kochi Kame, which is like 200 volumes for the amount of money he threw at me, I would have. I mean, dude's crazy. But yeah, thank you, Betty. Yeah, I'm not gonna interview. It's Emo Punk's getting an interview. But yeah, good job. I hope the best for your interview. Confidence and honesty will help you. That's all I can really say. Be confident. Don't get nervous. If you don't know the answer, don't say I don't know. Say I would ask, like a supervisor or somebody that would know. People always are, all managers and all this stuff, they want to know if you know things. And if you know, to refer to somebody that does know. That's all I can say. Best of luck to you, though, man. Anyway, yeah. So I'll put out the stuff. Maybe I'd like do a little video. Yeah, I'll put out a little video. It'd probably be like, hey, here's the tiers. Here's the link. Here you go. If you want to. I don't expect a lot. I don't even know if anybody would show up, but it's optional. Anyway, hope you guys have a good night. I got it in the stream before I ramble. It's been almost 4 hours. Thank you guys very much for showing up.